For joining us for the news at noon, Fox 5 News Live at
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us here on Fox Local, where we're streaming also on social media like TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Remember, this is a news conversation, so feel free to join into this conversation and also talk about the stories that you want to see covered here on Fox Local. Let's get into some of our top headlines, the stories that we're following this afternoon. First, a woman is dead, one man injured, and another man in custody after a domestic related incident in Cobb County. Officials there are calling this a double shooting here. Police responded to a home in Laurel Creek Trail near Smyrna just before 8 last night, finding the male victim outside the home. Paramedics took him to the hospital, and we're waiting to hear more on his condition. Now, inside the home, officers found a woman who also had been shot. Sadly, she did not survive this encounter. Police took another man into custody, and we don't know what charges he faces right now. Also, officials have not released information on the relationship between the people involved and if any or all of them lived in this house. But again, this is out of Cobb County on Laurel Creek Trail. One woman dead. She was found inside the home. One man hurt as a result of this double shooting, and another man is in custody. We'll keep you updated on this situation here on Fox Local as we learn more. And another story we're following here, a 21-year-old has been arrested in connection with a double shooting out of DeKalb County. So we're getting a first look at that man hopefully soon. This is the story on Cobb County, so not the correct video. However, in DeKalb County, we know there was another double shooting. I'm going to change the headline there for you. And so what's happened here is that, again, this is out of DeKalb County, another deadly double shooting. This happened during a sleepover last week. Now, authorities arrested 21-year-old Keyshawn Webb and charged him with murder, aggravated assault, and cruelty to animals. And so 13-year-old DeMarcus Shirley and 45-year-old Chauncey Newman on your screen were killed. And again, a 21-year-old was arrested in connection with this deadly slumber party shooting in DeKalb County. Such a sad story here. Going back through the details, because we did talk about two at the top of this hour, one in Cobb County, one in DeKalb County. And you're taking a look at footage from DeKalb County now. 21-year-old arrested in connection with this shooting. Those are the two victims on your screen. And you see there, that is DeMarcus Shirley, he's 13 years old, and 45-year-old Chauncey Newman. Those were the two victims here. A scary situation. You go to a slumber party, and you hope to have fun and not see anything like this. But sadly, the slumber party did turn into this deadly shooting in that area and took the life of a child and also took the life of a 45-year-old man. We know that police have arrested a 21-year-old named Keyshawn Webb and charged him with murder, aggravated assault, and cruelty to animals. Those are some stories that we're following this morning, both deadly double shootings, one out of DeKalb County, the other out of Cobb County. Our time right now is 1:04. We'll return here on Fox Local with a look at what Fox 5 is working on throughout our day today. Welcome back to our news conversation here on Fox Local. I'm Jasmine Cornell. We want to talk about the stories that you're going to see on Fox 5 Atlanta on our broadcast shows and also here on Fox Local. Let's bring in our Tanya Mendoza. She's our assignment manager, and she has a look at some of those stories. Tanya, thanks so much for joining us this hour.
Thank you, Jasmine. Yeah, let's start out with talking about a big story out of Troup County regarding what people are saying was a fireworks flop. That's what Doug Evans is working on. So basically, people in Troup County were expecting a 20-minute fireworks show by the county and got an 8-minute show. That's what they're saying. They were highly disappointed. And so people started asking questions. Sounds like the people who were contracted for the event were called, and somebody may have been reprimanded or even fired. That is what Doug Evans is trying to find out. He'll have a full story a little later. Jasmine?
So, Tanya, you're saying that somebody might have been fired as a result of the show being 8 minutes instead of 20 minutes.
Yeah, either reprimanded, fired, or something as of a result of it just not being what they were expecting. And I mean, imagine if you, decided to plan a big night out for the 4th of July and you went out there with your family and you're thinking it's going to be, 30 minutes, say 20-minute show, and you get 8 minutes and then you have to pack up and go home. So yeah, they're disappointed, and that's what Doug's trying to get some questions answered about what happened and who was actually in charge of it all.
And Tanya, I'm curious to know, was this a free show? Do we have that information?
I believe it was a free show in their downtown area.
Okay, very interesting. We'll see what officials say about these fireworks complaints out of Troup County. Moving forward to this bizarre story, but you said that this has been an issue in the Atlanta area in the past, earlier today.
Yeah, that was right. So overnight, there was a big smash and grab, and we've had smash and grabs before. When I used to work on the Good Day Atlanta hours previously, there were always jeans being stolen from high-end designer stores, also weaves stolen. I remember for a while when there was a North Face store over in Buckhead, that kept getting smashed and grabbed as well. But last night, it looks like this was in the downtown area, and a U-Haul smashed into the side of a building. This apparent smash and grab burglary took place at Identity ATL on Walker Street. The Atlanta police say 3 masked men robbed the business and left in a white pickup truck. We talked to a man who says he watched it happen from his apartment window. Let's listen to that soundbite.
Reversed the vehicle, the U-Haul into the wall here 3 times. They floored the gas. It was crazy. But they were in and out very quickly here. Obviously, the debris is quite significant, so they weren't able to get in and out multiple times. I think they were probably scared enough to get out of here.
So according to its website, Identity ATL sells high-end clothing and shoes, Jasmine. Crazy scene, right?
Yeah, that is a crazy scene, and I'm glad that no one was inside that building when the U-Haul truck rammed into that building. It's so crazy to see that video there. But it's sad that this has happened before in our area, and I'll be curious to know what officials are doing this summer to stop this from happening again.
Right, exactly. So we'll update you on that if we get a little more information, or if they release any surveillance video or anything. We'll update you on that later in the show or this week. I do want to mention a little pop news. Are you ready for it, Jasmine?
A little pop news, yes. I'm excited for this.
So, we've all been excited about the World Cup here and all the events surrounding it, the fan festival, and, Shakira was here as well as part of the FIFA activities. But Ariana Grande is hitting the stage here tonight. She was here Monday. She's hitting the stage tonight and tomorrow. It's the Eternal Sunshine Tour. It's arrived in Atlanta, and this marks her first return to the stage in 6 years. This tour is. As you know, she's been a little busy working on Wicked and other projects, so we're all excited to have Ariana Grande here. Why is this a big deal, you might ask? Well, she has 115 billion global streams and 30 billion U.S. streams, along with 70 million albums sold worldwide. Ariana Grande stands as one of the most successful artists of her generation. At least that's what her website says. So what's your favorite Ariana song?
I actually have a lot of favorite Ariana Grande songs. She's usually on my top 5 list when that Spotify list comes out. I know Apple Music does it too, but she's usually on there, or one of her songs. So I like several Positions, POV, Into You, Breathin'. She does a lot of great music with The Weeknd. So Save Your Tears, Die For You. I love all those songs. And her new song is a bop as well. Hate That I Made You Love Me. And I don't know if you've been seeing on social media, it's a trend going on with her song there. So she is very successful. I'm curious to know if you have any favorite Ariana Grande songs.
Well, I love Thank You Next and the Rain on Me one she did with Lady Gaga. Those are my 2 favorite.
Those are some great songs. And sometimes you'll be walking in the stores and you'll hear music and it'll be from Ariana Grande. So she has some great hits out there.
It just makes you want to break out in song like Jameson over there did earlier. She was serenading us.
Yes, she is a top artist, I would say. This last story I do want to talk about because it's pretty cool here. So we'll get to see our Larry Sproul get on a helicopter. Let's talk about why.
That's right. He's actually going to, I'm not sure if he's getting on it, but he's going to feature the Atlanta police helicopter because, as you know, it's like a great way of fighting crime and has an eye in the sky for the police department. And right now with the massive crowds because of the World Cup and the matches here, it's a very important tool that the police department is using. He called them up and asked them to see if he could feature the crew that works on that helicopter. And guess what? They said yes. So he's going to have that story a little later.
Tanya, that sounds good. Sadly, you won't be able to get on the helicopter, but hey, it'll still be a good story. Tanya, thanks so much for joining us to talk about what Fox 5 is working on today. And speaking of the World Cup, their World Cup fever continues here in the city of Atlanta. As you all know, we held a match yesterday, Argentina versus Egypt. Argentina with a big win. Lionel Messi scoring in a record 6 straight World Cup knockout match to help Argentina advance to the quarterfinals. With a stunning comeback to beat Egypt 3-2. So it was a great match there if you got to see it. There won't be any World Cup matches tonight on Fox 5, but the action will return tomorrow in a quarterfinal showdown. That's what you're seeing on your screen now. France takes on Morocco from Boston Stadium. The game starts at 4 p.m., but you can catch that all right here on Fox 5. We're going to bring that to you. And let's take a live look outside there at the Fan Festival. We know that they have extended their hours. So this is some good news here. If you want to try to get to the Fan Festival, and they also say it has welcomed more than 453,000 soccer fans from around the world. That is Centennial Olympic Park they're looking at. They have announced extended operating hours for the tournament's final 2 days. And here are those hours. So on Tuesday, July 14th, the semifinal eve celebration, those hours are now 1 to 10:30 p.m. There will be a special performance by Atlanta's own Ludacris. So if you have tickets there, that will be exciting. And Ludacris is reportedly going to perform at Piedmont Park after that, if you can't make that. Then on Wednesday, July 15th, the Fan Festival has a closing celebration. That's from noon to 10:30 p.m. Again, that is on the July the 15th. And fans can experience a second semifinal live from Centennial Olympic Park before the festival transitions into its closing celebration starting at 6 p.m. So some extended hours for you. Performance lineups and times will be announced this coming Monday, so be on the lookout for that. And then, get this, a limited number of evening celebration general admission tickets for Tuesday and Wednesday, the 14th and the 15th, that is, will be released on Friday. And those tickets provide entry starting at 6 p.m. when the Fan Festival transitions from the daytime match programming into that closing celebration that I just mentioned. And we have more information on this on our website, fox5atlanta.com. All right, let's talk weather, guys. Our meteorologist Alex Forbes is here to tell us what we can expect, especially with hurricane season.
Yeah, so we got an update this morning, which is why we're talking about it now, to the 2026 forecast from Colorado State University. Yes, it's a popular forecast. Yes, it's done in the state of Colorado. If you ask them why, they say it's because storm surge can't reach them there. That's their joke behind it. But in all seriousness, a piece of good news. We've been talking a lot about this El Nino pattern developing in the equatorial Pacific, so south of Mexico and Central America. That has a direct correlation to the amount of storms we see in the Atlantic basin because of the wind shear that it can provide. So the update today is that fewer storms are expected. The June forecast had 11 named storms. This is down to 9. 5 hurricanes down to 4, 2 major hurricanes down to 1. So there's a piece of good news for you on this July afternoon where several people are out on Lake Lanier. I showed this camera earlier on Fox 5 News at noon, and there was somebody beached out there on that little strip of land that honestly shouldn't be there, right? The lake is down about 5 feet, so you're looking at spots that are above water that should not be above water. Most people will stay dry today with only a handful of showers across the area, but those rain chances, they will be going up into the weekend, and it will still be hot. No doubt. 89 in Atlanta right now, 91 in Covington, 93 in Eatonton, 84 over in Blairsville, 86 in Dalton. But you factor in that humidity, as we will be doing for the days and weeks and months to come. It feels like the mid to upper 90s, even a low 100 there in Eatonton at this hour. So for the day today, headed out to the pool for the remainder of the afternoon. It will obviously be hot. The chance of rain remains relatively low. We do have some relief in the heat department over the next couple of days, but that is going to be correlated to some rain chances. So while we do get down to 87 and 84 on Sunday and Monday, that rain chance will get up to 60% there. So that's a better chance than not of seeing some wet weather, but that's not a guarantee, right? I like to look at a 60% chance of rain as a 40% chance of staying dry. Now, it is also worth noting that for Friday, we've got this low end level 1 Denver through Wichita, Memphis, and all the way to northwest Georgia. I'm not overly concerned about it, but if you're up in Rome, Calhoun, Dalton, you are included in this. Think about it this way, though. You are a small piece of a much larger puzzle, right? So it's not like, oh, a level 1, northwest Georgia, and that's it. That region goes all the way to Denver. So it's small clipping here of Georgia. So here's your Fox 5 Storm Team's 7-day forecast. 20 and 30% chance of rain through the remainder of the work week, and then we get into the weekend where those rain chances go up. Again, not a washout. Look at that pattern, though. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 87, 84, 90. That's a quick warm-up back up from 84. I expect that to continue into next week with some more mid to upper 90s across the metro area.
It's definitely interesting to see the 84 on the forecast, though. Right. To go from 84 to 90, that is a big jump there.
Winds change direction. That's all it takes this time of year.
Wow. Well, thanks, Alex, for joining us to talk weather, guys. Let's take a live look outside here. A beautiful day. Looks like somebody's on a boat. I wish I was there. I will say that. But let's move on to our next story here because it is pretty special. It's out of Lawrenceville. 8 veterans aged 79 to 94 are soaring into the skies today thanks to Dream Flights. So the program gives each veteran a 15-minute flight on a restored World War II era Stearman biplane, that is. And that's all happening right now at Briscoe Field. Our Chris Rosenthal is out there. And Chris, this is such an incredible opportunity for veterans. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, these veterans from Phoenix Senior Living in Brazelton have gotten this really wonderful opportunity to come out here today and take a ride about 15, 20 minutes or so in this World War II era 1942 Stearman aircraft. And yeah, like you said, ages 79 to 93, many of them serving Vietnam, even as far back as Korea. And it's been really wonderful watching the folks from Dream Flight here take them up, take their time, get to know them as well, and then, you know, get them on the aircraft and take them up for the flights. And I got the pilot here. I have Tim Gardner. He is with Dream Flights. And Tim, tell me, why do you guys do this here?
Why do we do this? We do this to honor our veterans. It's the way that we can give back to those who gave so much to our country. We give rides to veterans that are in senior living facilities, and it's a way to just kind of revitalize them and to show them that people still care about them. And so it's just a way to honor them and give them a fantastic experience.
What's the reaction you get from the veterans when you do this?
Smiles, big smiles. It's really they're grateful to us, and we love to just see them come back alive again. And that's what it does. It revitalizes them, and so we see just miracles happen when we fly these amazing heroes.
And speaking of smiles, one of the veterans here, he flew up here earlier, Ron, and Ron, believe it or not, is 93 years old, and you hopped right up in that plane. And tell me, what's it like to be up there in the sky in this aircraft?
It's so relaxing. It was such a smooth flight. This gentleman here, he kept the plane going straight and true. It just nice and relaxing. It's like he says, it revitalizes you somewhat, and a very nice ride.
Flying over Gwinnett here, I mean, what's the view like?
Oh, you see this if you're flying in commercial, but you don't see it. You get a slow view of the countryside and all the activity that goes on. I didn't realize just how spread out this area was with all the housing and warehouses and so forth. Pretty awe-inspiring. You think of Atlanta as Atlanta, and all of a sudden there's all this territory around it.
And, a lot of people made this possible here, from the Phoenix Senior Living and from the folks at Dreamflight, Sport Clips. How does it feel to be recognized and to have this opportunity?
It's surprising. I think back serving in the day, which to me was the late 50s and early 60s, when your service time was finished, you thought, that's it, it's finished. And it was for quite a few years. And all of a sudden, there's a kind of a resurgence of recognizing the veterans, possibly with organizations such as this, the Honors Flight, the different organizations that are going on. And it's just it's getting to be patriotic to do this. And it bothers me a little bit when there seems to be a lack of patriotism developing in this country. I like to see a resurgence of this going on. Don't you think so, Tim?
Absolutely,
yeah.
100%.
Yes,
100%,
yes.
Ron.
Yeah, it's absolutely it's a big thank you from these guys, huh?
Yes, yeah. And then with me at my duty, my honor, I appreciate being able to serve my country.
Did you do any big barrel rolls up there?
No, we got close to a couple of big blackbirds, but no barrel rolls. He took it easy on me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's great. And you guys do this across the country, huh?
Yeah, we operate about 8 of these airplanes. We have a crew of 12 or 13 pilots and crew chiefs. We barnstorm the country. We're modern day barnstormers, and so we go all over the countries to wherever the veterans are, and we fly them. And so we'll do between 700 and 800 flights this year. To total, we've done over 8,300 flights over 15 years.
Something really cool I'm looking here behind me, maybe you can come over here and show it to me, is these signatures here. What are we looking at here?
So in 2021, we did Operation September Freedom, where we only flew World War II veterans. We flew over 880 World War II veterans in 2021. Every veteran that we flew got to sign the tail, and we tell them that from now on, every time we fly, you're flying with us.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. That's really, really amazing. Their names will live on in this
Exactly.
on this tail here. And this is a 1942 aircraft, huh?
This is a 1942 Boeing Stearman. This was the primary trainer for World War II.
Wow, so this thing actually served, huh?
It possibly, we don't know the full history of all of our airplanes, but the majority of the Stearmans that were built went into service as trainers for the Army Air Corps and the Navy. Awesome.
Well, appreciate what you guys do. Next stop, Cartersville later this week, and I believe you have one more to go. So we'll hang out here and watch them take off on one last flight for the afternoon here.
Chris, thanks so much for showing us this story, and thanks to the veterans. I grew up in a military family, so I know about their sacrifices, the sacrifices that they make to serve our country. Curious to know if they do this every year. I mean, this is a cool program here.
Yeah, they do this regularly. You know, they barnstorm the country and you know, go across the country and make these stops. So not just here in Georgia. This is the third year that this particular senior living community, Phoenix Senior Living, has done this and arranged to have their veterans take these flights. So you know, for them, for sure, becoming an annual thing.
All right, Chris, thanks so much for letting us know, and we look forward to seeing your reports later this afternoon. Our time right now is 1:26. When we return here on Fox Local, we'll talk about a block party that is happening in Little 5 Points, and we'll also talk about their summer events coming up. All right, if you love Halloween, you'll love this story here. So Little 5 Points turning into the greatest block party on earth, they say, this Saturday as the summer of Halloween brings circus performers, live music, and much more. Joining us now is Kelly Stocks and also Madison Climas, both with Little 5 Points, with a preview of the celebration. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So first tell us, Madison or Kelly, either one of you can answer this question. For those who have never experienced this celebration, what makes this block party so unique and different?
Well, we got a grant from Showcase Atlanta, and it's about our neighborhood. It's about bringing people from our neighborhood to watch the games, the World Cup games. So we have some good games coming up. The Circus Alliance people live really close to Little 5, and they're always in our parades every year. We've got some other people coming out. We've got some interactive art with Travis Love. We've got some carnival games that we're doing. We're going to have 2 big screen TVs. We have 5 p.m. is Norway versus England, and 9 p.m. is Argentina versus Switzerland. So we got some good games there. But anyway, every year for the last probably 3 years, we've done the Summer of Halloween, where we have different events all summer. So we also have Queens of the Crypt, which is a drag queen led by Drag Queens Alter their ghost tours for Little 5. We're doing those for the next 2 weekends on Friday and Saturday, and we have Monster Ball coming up, which Madison is in charge of, and that's on July 18th. And then we have a big Back to Ghoul Bash on August 2nd.
Thanks, Madison, for answering that question. Now, when I hear summer of Halloween, you think Halloween. Are people going to be dressed up in Halloween costumes? Is this tied to Halloween?
Yeah, so for Monster Ball, it is a costume party. We have a costume contest as well as a bunch of really awesome raffle prizes. We have tickets to Variety and the Eastern for any show. We have some other sports things going on. We have a bike from Outback that's up for raffle too, as well as some bike tune-ups and bike rentals, and then several different raffle prizes from different Little 5 Points businesses as well. And then we also have the local caveman band, Mongo, is playing, as well as DJ Novak. And like I said, there's a really cool costume contest prize. So please show up to Monster Ball in costume.
Okay, so show up in your costume. Sounds like a plan. I love Halloween. I love dressing up. So this sounds like a great event for this weekend. Talk about how this event supports local businesses, local restaurants, etc.
Totally. For Monster Ball specifically, we, like I said, collect raffle prizes from all of the local businesses. So they'll be represented at the event, and then hopefully people that win those prizes will then go use them in the stores around the neighborhood. Also, Mongo is a local band. They're in the neighborhood. They're fantastic. It's great. As far as Monster Ball funding, all of the proceeds for the event go to the Halloween festival. So it helps us with all of the overhead expenses of Halloween that everybody loves to come to the neighborhood for. And I'm sure, with the block party as well, anything that drives traffic to the neighborhood gets people into the businesses. We love that.
And does this program here, does it have something for every age? Is this just for adults?
The one this weekend is for all ages. The block party. We're going to have, like I said, carnival games, and those will be for kids. And the aerialists for sure will be, the kids will love that. But, we do have a band. We have the El Caminos are playing at 8 o'clock in the street in Little 5. We got the streets blocked off. So it might get, later on, it might not be as kid friendly, but it's going till midnight. So
I hear you on that. It's going to midnight, and I understand there. So what do you hope first-time visitors take away from this on Saturday?
This is us. I mean, this is Little 5. We're, creative, the creative neighborhood. We like to do things our way. We, we're showcasing our neighbors, our businesses, this is us. So I hope they like us.
Been wonderful.
Madison, that sounds good.
Weird and wonderful.
Where can people find the information on the weekend event and just the events that you all are holding?
Little5pointsofficial.com. Everything is on our website, as well as our Instagram. Our Instagram handle is at Little5pointsofficial. And there is a link for tickets to Monster Ball in both of those places, as well as a list of all of our summertime events.
All right, sounds good. So people can enjoy that block party this Saturday, all part of the summer of Halloween, and they can enjoy much more. Thanks so much for joining us, Madison and Kelly.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, have a great rest of your day. And we're going to continue our conversation here on Fox Local, but change things up just a bit. Let's talk about what's trending on our website, fox5atlanta.com, and here on Fox Local, and bring in our digital content creator, Jamison Moyer. Jamison, thanks so much for joining us to talk about these stories.
Hey, Jasmine. Thanks for having me.
And so this first one, I'm not surprised that it's trending on our website here. It's surrounding Big Tigger's wife, who was just arrested on some kidnapping charges.
Absolutely. So a traffic stop on Interstate 85 has landed the estranged wife of Atlanta radio host Big Tigger behind bars on kidnapping charges. 37-year-old Alicia Denise Brown was arrested after the traffic stop in Hart County. Deputies stopped her vehicle and safely recovered 2 young children, one of whom she reportedly shares with Big Tigger. Brown was wanted on outstanding kidnapping warrants out of Maryland dating back to 2019 alongside local child custody charges. According to outside media reports, the kidnapping charges stem from the disappearance of 10-year-old Aaliyah Brown. This comes just weeks after Big Tigger himself, whose real name is Darian Morgan, was arrested on domestic charges including battery and child cruelty following a May dispute with Brown. Maryland officials say they are now working to extradite Brown to face those charges.
Yeah, this family has just been going through a lot. Big Tigger and his wife here. Did they ever say the relationship between this 10-year-old and the estranged wife here? Was that her child?
So that's one thing that we have actually been working to confirm in the newsroom. We do not have any official documents from law enforcement saying whether or not Aaliyah is Alicia's child. There have been reports the father of Aaliyah has spoken out to media outlets in Baltimore and in that area, saying that he believes that Aaliyah is alive and that she's out there, but there's a lot of mystery surrounding the disappearance of this young girl, and we are working to nail down some solid answers because it's just it's intriguing, but also you just can't help wonder what happened.
And the child is still missing. Did I just hear you say that?
Yes, according to, like I said, we called the Baltimore County Police Department earlier, and we reached out to their state's attorney's office. And according to the information that they have provided, they have not said, they say the case is still open. Aaliyah Brown's case is still open. There's been no reports of her necessarily being found by law enforcement.
Interesting story. I hope that we can get some answers here, and I hope that that child is safe. Moving now to this next story that dates back to 2022. I wasn't here just yet, but it sounds like a judge has said, no, we will not be overturning the convictions of these 2 convicted gang members.
Yes. So actually, and there's another twist because this one gang member from this previous story, he just got sentenced. So he's headed to prison for nearly a century after this multi-agency crackdown. A Superior Court judge sentenced 35-year-old Darius Scott to 95 years behind bars. A jury convicted him last month on multiple felony weapon and gang charges, which included the unlawful possession of a machine gun. Authorities tied Scott to the Paradise East Street Gang, which is a local branch of a Bloods gang operating out of the Boulder Crest Road area. State Attorney General Chris Carr announced the sentence, and he called it proof that there is no escaping justice. 2 other gang members have pleaded guilty earlier this year as part of this same ongoing investigation.
Okay, and so I was talking about a different story, I believe here. This just surrounds this one gang member who was just sentenced to 95 years. So when did this case happen?
Well, it says according to our reporting, the sentence just came down, and they have been in court. And the 2 who I guess they are co-defendants, but they pleaded guilty earlier this year in 2026 as part of this same investigation. It seems that they're called the Paradise East Street Gang, and it's like a branch off of the Bloods gang. But this just happened recently.
Thanks so much for clarifying. All right, well, we'll see. This guy was sentenced to 95 years in prison. That's a very long time, so he's expected to spend the rest of his life there. Let's move to this next story here, which is also another bizarre story here. These teens are now charged after shooting people with this play gun, but they shot at some other kids.
Yeah, so these 2 teenagers are now facing charges after what they say they thought was a neighborhood prank. So Kennesaw police arrested a 15 and 16-year-old after a string of random drive-by shootings where the teenagers were using an Orbeez gun pellet. Authorities say that the teens targeted people from a moving car, striking a jogger, a cyclist, and 2 children ages 10 and 11. One of those children was hit roughly 10 times by the pellets. Officers used license plate readers to track the suspects down to a nearby home. The teens are now facing charges of aggravated assault and cruelty to children. Police are warning that pointing anything resembling a firearm at someone, even a toy, carries real adult consequences.
Yeah, and these kids probably didn't know that. A prank here, they say. Now they're facing charges, but I'm glad that no one was hurt. I know that multiple victims were involved in this story, including a 10-year-old and his cousin, which is, you know, they didn't deserve that. And so it sounds like kids need to stop with these pranks, because we've talked about a good bit of stories where pranks have turned into charges or deadly consequences.
Exactly. That's very true. We've had a lot of recent cases of just, you know, kids were playing and they thought that, you know, it was all fun and games, but then it turned out to, like you said, suffer real consequences, whether that be charges or, you know, the tragic situation in Hall County where a teacher died. So it just, you got to be careful out there and really pay attention to what you're doing and understand that your actions have consequences.
Absolutely. Jamison, thanks so much for joining us to talk about what's trending on Fox Local and fox5atlanta.com. Well, let's get into some of our top stories here. Continuing our conversation, some people are speaking out about the T-shirt from the Peachtree Road race. So people are divided here. Just days after thousands of people participated in the Northside Hospital Peachtree Road race. I did not get to participate in this, but I'm looking forward to doing this in the future and seeing what the T-shirt looks like in the coming years. But some are still talking about this year's choice, which is on your screen, and many of you received that after you cross the finish line. The debate has drawn mixed reactions. The design, titled "We the Peaches," champions the inclusivity of freedom and justice for all. But some say it should have been red, white, or blue, honoring America's 250th birthday. Others, however, call the yellow different and bold, saying you can't please everyone. And to be honest, you can't please everyone. If they would have gone with a different T-shirt design here, somebody was going to possibly be upset about it. But again, people are just divided over this T-shirt design. We'll see if the organizers here do something differently next year or what happens, since people are speaking out about this. And moving forward, this story is for people looking to buy a home. A new report says that home prices are set to decline. So this is some good news if you're interested in becoming a home buyer. Realtor.com's 2026 forecast mid-year update predicts home price growth will slow to just 1.2% this year. And that's a slower pace than originally forecasted, and one that trails behind inflation. So that's some good news. Home prices have been high. I'm not in the space yet where I want to buy a home, but it's some good information to report this afternoon here on Fox Local. Now, car payments, on the other hand, have reached an all-time high, and you may know this if you pay monthly on a car note. This new report by LendingTree found that the average new car payment rose to an all-time high in the first quarter. So that average monthly payment for a new vehicle rose 2.9% from a year ago to a record $770. People are paying a lot of money for cars, and I've even heard friends talk about this. I have friends who are paying $900 plus every month for a car note. So the average here is $770. Americans in their mid-30s and 40s originated the most auto loan debt in the first quarter. So people are buying cars, but they are spending a lot of money on them. $770. I remember when my first car note was just $305. Boy, do I miss that. Our time is 1:45 here, and speaking of money, let's talk student loans. We know there's been some changes recently when it comes to student loans. The start of the month brought those significant changes to federal student loans from borrowing to repayment. So Dr. Sonia Lewis, known as the student loan doctor, spoke with our Joanne Feldman and has more.
I'm not even sure there are some people out there that appreciate how important this topic is right now, because this is just underway, right? Start of the month, get all of these changes. I feel like there are going to be people kind of blindsided by what they're finding out. So let's kind of start with those in the process of paying back student loans and what they need to know.
So first thing first, about 7 million people are feeling very confused and overwhelmed. 7 million people right now are receiving notices between their email and their mail saying you've got to get out of what's called the SAVE plan, and that was enacted through the Biden administration. And so this administration said you have 90 days, September 29th is what they're telling people, that you've got to move it or lose it, right? Well, they're going to lose it either way, but we don't want the repayment process to start without them.
Okay, because there's still some options. You just need to know and figure out what the best one is.
Yes.
All right, so before we get into a little more of that, you mentioned the SAVE plan. Are there a few other plans that are affected that aren't available to borrowers anymore?
Well, the main one is the SAVE plan. That's completely done. As of 2028, the ICR, income contingent repayment, and pay, I know all these acronyms, they're changing by 2028. But it's important to know that those are still available because they may be a little more affordable than the newer options coming up.
Okay, all right. So if you need to choose a new repayment plan, and like you said, the clock's ticking on that, if this does apply to you, what do we need to do to be sure that we're making the right choice here, that we're not making a costly mistake?
Well, let's talk about existing borrowers. So the 7 million people, let's talk about those people first. So they're going to be proposed to go into what's called the RAP plan. That's the new plan by the Trump administration, and then the tier standard plan. Now, the thing about the RAP plan is that it's going to be a little more affordable, about $50 less each month than the current plans, but the switch off is that it's going to be an extra 10 years for repayment. The last time I checked, no one had an extra 10 years to repay on their loans. So we want people, when they're choosing their options, to take your time, read slowly. I was just teaching a class last night, and the RAP plan is first, so you're like, oh, that's going to save me the most money. But the fine print, two things: 10 years of repayment extra, and that plan is not forgivable upon finishing repayment. The existing plan that people should look into is called IBR, income-based repayment. That plan is a congressional plan set through Congress and will forgive after 20 or 25 years.
Okay, and it's amazing, really, when you do sit down and look at it and have expertise from someone like you, how something that seems like it's a little change right now could make a big huge difference over time. Absolutely. All right, let's talk about public service loan forgiveness. You know, this has been a popular program helping teachers, government workers, and whatnot. What's going on here? Any changes here?
Okay, so no major changes. The good news is the Trump administration was told that they cannot make changes this year. They were trying to disqualify certain employers from being eligible. So if you work with immigrants, for example, they were trying to say your job wasn't eligible, and Congress said that's not going to fly. So as of this year, everything is still the same. You should still do your paperwork, but in order to get credit for that plan, you have to choose another plan that we talked about, like an IDR plan. They go hand in hand.
Okay. Now, let's talk about changes to borrowing the money in the first place, especially like Parent Plus loans. I'm familiar with some of those. Graduate students looking to borrow. What do we need to know?
Okay, so the limits have changed. So for new borrowers, let's start there. Everyone knew as of July 1st, parents can only take out $65,000 per child, where before it was an unlimited number. And graduate students can only take out up to $100,000 before it was an unlimited number. That's going to make graduates and parents have to borrow more wisely and almost like chart out before they go into the school, can I afford this? Can I finish the program?
Yeah, that really does raise a lot of new questions that you might not have had otherwise when you're trying to decide what to do. All right, so what would you say are some of the biggest misconceptions people have right now, and what can they do to protect themselves?
Well, first off, people have to log into studentaid.gov. Before the pandemic, people didn't go in at all, really, and then the pandemic hit, people didn't go at all. So now go to studentaid.gov, log in, reset your password, don't worry, they've got you there. And then you just want to see see if you're in default. You want to see if there's any alerts that comes up that you need to pay attention to. The second thing is make sure you know who your lender is, because who your lender was last year may not be who it is this year. So please don't send a payment to Mohilia and you're now with Fedlo, right?
Yeah.
That would be, I don't know how you get that money back. So that's the most important thing. And then the last thing is make sure that you're checking your credit, because a lot of lenders are escalating repayment, but it's not showing up on the website. So you may think you have until September 29th, but I have seen through thousands, people are in repayment now. And then when it hits your credit score after 90 days miss, 100 points lost. We cannot afford to lose 100 FICO points.
Yeah, this is a big deal, a lot of information, but we appreciate you taking some time to share this with us. Yeah, and if you would like more information from Dr. Sonia Lewis, you can head to our website, fox5atlanta.com, go to the Good Day tab and click on today's viewer information link. There will be a lot of good information that you'll need right there.
Yes,
Again,
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, some good information from Dr. Sonia Lewis and also from our Joanne Feldman. Time right now is 1:50. We're back with our Eli Jordan after up next. Welcome back here to Fox Local. Right now in Henry County, rescue personnel are training in a live excavation, collapse, and rescue demonstration. This is pretty cool here. Our Eli Jordan is there with a look. And Eli, I see them working hard behind you.
Oh, yeah. They've wrapped up the demonstration. They dug a trench. And now it kind of reminds me of my favorite movie, Cool Hand Luke. They're putting the dirt back in Boss Man's yard. But anyways, they're filling it back up. That was the demo trench right there. And Carmichael Development wanted to remind their employees they need to stay on top of safety, especially when doing trench works, shore up the sides and all that good stuff, because if you get caught in a trench collapse, it's usually not good news. We got a little bit of video here from earlier when they had the demonstration going on here with Henry County Fire Department. Now, the fire department came out here and they went through all the motions. This was a bonus training for them. They normally do not get invited out to active job sites to perform some training duties. But Carmichael Development wanted Henry County to come out here and show Carmichael employees, construction workers, what it takes to be rescued and realize that it's mainly just a recovery effort. But also, too, this was good for the Henry County Fire Department. And I spoke to Shift Commander Michael Hicks, and here's what he had to say.
Start from finish, we have a simple, it looks like a 6-foot deep hole, maybe 15 to 20 foot wide. So we're going to go from start to finish. That includes air monitoring, putting down walk pads, measuring the hole, going through the incident command, through permits, stuff like that. Just our basic check boxes type scenario. We'll shoot a couple of sets of shores with panels, and we'll show them how it's done. We'll retrieve a victim, and then we'll take it out the way we put it in reverse order.
How often do you guys respond to trench collapse?
Trench collapse, it's not as often as you would think, but we do have that on occasion because we are all hazards department, so we respond to whether it's rescue, high or low, underwater or surface water rescues, trench, confined space. So we're all hazards departments.
How valuable would you say this kind of training is for you guys?
Oh, it's very valuable because this could be a yearly thing. We may get one time a year to actually open up Mother Earth and actually train in it. So sometimes this is.
All right. Well, so the 100% that he, this is a really good bonus train for the Henry County Fire Department, and they don't get it all the time. They said normally they, have to do this on the side of the road and all that, and it was just a big bonus for them to come out here, so they bid at it. And of course, Carmichael Development got their employees all out here watching and observing to remind them safety first and don't cut corners. Back to you, Jasmine.
All right, Eli, that sounds good. This is an incredible opportunity for you and also for the workers out there. And thank you for joining our news conversation here on Fox Local. Our news continues right at 2 with our Ariel on stop.
Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for joining us here at 2 o'clock. It is a busy day, and we've got a lot of things to get to. We do not have any FIFA World Cup matches today, so that is something we will not be talking about at length. I know you guys have all probably seen the videos of Argentina winning against Egypt yesterday here at Atlanta Stadium. So we will continue to keep you updated as we approach more FIFA World Cup games, and we'll keep you updated on what to expect. But first, let's talk about some things happening here closer to home. I want to start with a story that our Angelique Proctor has been following, and it involves some airport employees, Angelique, I understand, saying that they are not being paid in a timely manner. What can you share with us?
Well, good afternoon to you, Ariel. We are here at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, where these 500 Park ATL employees work. Many of them work the parking garages. They drive the shuttle buses that you see. If you have a problem, if your tire is flat, they drive the courtesy buses to come and help you if people are wondering who we are talking about. They say they are employees who need some help with this parking issue right now. They actually got in touch with their union, and the union representatives went before the Atlanta City Council on Monday to start talking about these payment issues. What they're saying is that their paychecks are not right, their paychecks don't come on time, their paychecks don't include insurance premiums that they should include, their paychecks don't have their union dues paid, and so all of these problems that they say have been going on for about 3 years. Take a listen to the union reps as they explained all of this on Monday.
You do not get back and forth from your car to your terminal without touching those folks. If they wanted to, they could shut down the airport. That is not an exaggeration. Gina Pagnotta is the vice president of our national union. She asked us, because of her relationship with you guys, to come here and talk to you guys first before we shut down the airport. So we're here by her request. So you're lucky, I'm just gonna say that right now, you're lucky she has faith in all of you. This is what we are asking for. These folks constantly do not have they don't have accurate paychecks or have paychecks that are on time. When tax season came around, many of them did not have W-2s, or they were given handwritten W-2s. People are not getting access to paycheck stubs. How many people have lost housing, been denied loans, or whatever because they did not have paycheck stubs? Okay? People's insurance premiums are not being paid. Even though they're paying the money, it's coming out of their paycheck stubs. They've gotten letters from insurance companies telling them that their premiums were not paid and therefore their insurance has been canceled.
One of them, if not both of them, got a $7.2 million check June of this year. And they also got 2 checks in a matter of $457 in May of this year. Where's that money? These employees not getting it. They never get their checks on time, as you can see on the paychecks, page 31 I've attached in the collective bargaining agreement with NAGE. And you probably, and also the paycheck stubs, page 21 and 22, and withholding of the union dues, page 23, that you have the opportunity to review. Now, you're probably wondering why the city got something to do with this. Well, the city signed this contract, and a third party of the people, that these men and women are working at your airport. They're the drivers, the shuttles, they help you out in doing World Cup. You want this, and you want it clean, you want it to do what it's supposed to do. But I tell you now, and you all know my spirit and my passion, if these employees were for the city of Atlanta and they were under PACE directly and they did not get paid, you would not get no service. I can guarantee you that.
So as you can hear, some very serious accusations about these payroll problems. Now, the union says the city of Atlanta has done its part by paying this vendor. The vendor is Vector Transportation, and they've actually paid them millions of dollars. But apparently the vendor has not gotten that money into these employees' hands, particularly in a timely fashion, and that is the rub there. So they are not city employees because the city has contracted this work out to this contractor. Now, we reached out to Vector Transportation today, got no response. We also reached out to many Atlanta City Council members. They said they hear these complaints loudly and clearly, and that they are definitely researching them, reaching out to the airport, trying to figure out what is wrong here, why is this happening, and how they can correct it. So we are busy following all of this, and we understand there is a transportation meeting. The Transportation Committee will meet next Wednesday, and this issue is expected to come up then. But lots of people who work here at the airport for Park ATL say they are not being paid properly, and they say this has been a long-standing problem, not just for a couple of months, but they are saying at least for the last 3 years, as long as Vector Transportation has had this contract. Ariel?
Angelique, heated words, and I can imagine if I wasn't getting paid what I was told I would be, I might feel similarly. And it's an interesting point that they were talking about how the backbone of the airport operations relies on the people to get people to and from the airport, the workers, the travelers, everybody else. So I understand there's a transportation meeting. I understand that this is definitely on the city's radar and they're going to be looking into it. Curious how what their response might be as they take a look at this situation. And of course, given that it's a third party, what kind of recourse do they even have?
Well, what these union representatives say the city could do is basically fire this vendor, this contractor, and hire someone who is more sensitive to the payroll needs and getting things done in a timely fashion. And so they ask at Monday's council meeting if there is a problem, and there certainly appears to be, in their opinion, with this vendor. Let's go ahead and fire the vendor. So we will continue to watch this. Of course, it's a very complex issue, lots of moving parts, lots of different players. It's not something that can be done just overnight, but we will continue to follow this, and definitely by next Wednesday's transportation meeting, we should be getting a more substantial response from the city about this.
Angelique, thanks so much for the update, keeping us informed on what to expect. I'll let you get back to information gathering, and we'll see you again this evening. As we continue here at 2 o'clock, you guys, let's talk about some other stories we're following. This one involves some pellet guns, an Orbeez shooting to be exact. 2 teenagers are now facing aggravated assault charges after a Kennesaw neighborhood was targeted in a pellet assault. These 2 teens are facing these aggravated assault charges, and police say they shot multiple people with an Orbeez pellet gun from a moving vehicle. They have been arrested, and an 11-year-old boy, who you see here, was walking his dog with his cousin in the Legacy Park neighborhood when a black car reportedly slowed down. A person hanging out of the passenger side window opened fire, striking the child roughly 20 times with those gel pellets. Now, the child ran home to their parents. Kennesaw police were already patrolling the neighborhood after a man out for a run reported he'd been hit in a similar drive-by shooting minutes earlier. So police say that this is something that they are investigating. 2 teens have been arrested. They have not confirmed the exact motive behind these attacks, but we'll keep you updated if we hear any information on that. I do also want to let you guys know that a man has been shot and killed as police in DeKalb were investigating an armed robbery. The DeKalb County police officers opened fire on a suspect. This happened in the 3300 block of Rammel Way off Rockbridge Road on the early Tuesday morning. But ultimately, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation is going to take this over and figure out whether the use of force was justified. That man was rushed to an area hospital where he died. No other injuries were reported. Those DeKalb County police officers were responding to an armed robbery when this all transpired, and it's not immediately clear how many officers used their service weapons or what led up to that confrontation before officers or a officer discharged his service weapon. So we will keep you updated as we get that information. Keep in mind, it's also unclear whether or not the man who was shot and killed was a suspect in this armed robbery situation. But as we get new information from police, we will let you know. Let's talk about this latest deadly domestic shooting that has left a woman dead and a man hurt in Cobb County. Atlanta police say this domestic dispute escalated Tuesday night, and this unfolded on Laurel Creek Trail, and it happened Tuesday evening. They say police tell us they took a man into custody at the scene after responding to reports of gunfire. They say this was a domestic violence incident with no ongoing threat to the public, but it is a tragic situation where emergency crews rushed the wounded man to the hospital for medical treatment and discovered a woman inside that house had been shot but did not survive. We'll keep you updated as we get any new information here as well. Let's take you out to Troup County, where it sounds like a controversy might be brewing over some fireworks that were not exactly as billed. Our Doug Evans joins us live to talk about it. And Doug, I understand that residents thought that they were in for a 20-minute show, America's 250th birthday, but that wasn't what they saw.
Now, disappointment soaring like rockets' red glare here in Troup County. They were expecting a show that was supposed to last, and what the county had paid $20,000 for should have been a 20 to 25-minute show, celebrate America's 250th birthday, and they got about 8 minutes. And there was a lot of disappointment. There was disappointment from the people who paid $10 a car to get in the gate here at Pine Road Park. That was voiced loudly on social media. I mean, even the boaters out on West Point Lake who got to see the show for free, even they were complaining about it. An 8-minute show. We've got the video, and if you just look at the video, man, it looks great, right? The fireworks are going off, bang, 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 bang. It looks great. I talked to the Parks and Rec director about this, and he said he checked with the pyrotechnician right before the show, make sure everything's okay, everything good, we good, 20 to 25. He's like, man, you got a ton of fireworks here, no problem, apparently. And so the Parks and Rec director, Lance Dennis, says he was surprised after 8 minutes it was gone. Right? There was nothing left. What he surmises is that maybe the guy was firing them off too fast and went through the whole thing, right? The whole arsenal of fireworks too fast. He doesn't know. But there was a lot of disappointment here. People who came here to the park. This is Pine Road Park, beautiful park on West Point Lake, by the way, if you're ever looking for a good park to go to on a weekend. They voiced their concerns on social media again. Even the boaters who got to see it for free, they were griping like crazy. So the county sent a letter to Southern Sky Fireworks. Let me see, make sure that I have that right. Southern Sky Fireworks, LLC. They were responsible for the show. They're the ones that was contracted to do it, and apparently they do fireworks displays all over the Southeast. They have done the one here for many years. County officials contacted them and said they were disappointed, and I guess that Southern Sky looked into it as well, said that's not the way that we do business, and they, to quote them in an email that was posted on Facebook here by the Troup County government, that it was shot in an unprofessional manner, the company said, and so that the pyrotechnician responsible for the 4th of July debacle is no longer with the company. So a lot of disappointment. The company has responded not just in an apology to the county and to the people who paid to see the show. They have also sent the county a $10,000 refund. So $10 a car. The county says, Ariel, they don't make any money at this. They get about $7 grand from the gate. They have a sponsor that pays about $3,000. The cost to put on the show with the fireworks, the security, the firefighters, the DNR that's out on the lake, it costs about 35 grand to put on. So they say they don't make any money at this. They lose money every year, but they do it because it's a long-standing tradition here in Troup County. It's been going on for like 40 years or something. So, you know, they just want to assure people that that there was no county involvement in this mishap,
Sure.
and it was all on the part of the contractor.
Doug, when I first learned of this story that you were doing today, I was kind of like, okay, wait, what's the situation? Of course, we all want a long fireworks show. The fact that it's a little shorter than we might have expected, yeah, it's disappointing, but maybe there are bigger fish to fry, right? But understanding that the county paid a lot of money for this and it wasn't as billed, and the fact that people then pay to be able to see it and watch it, America's 250th, you have a certain expectation. I mean, under 10 minutes is definitely not close to 20 or what was expected. So that is a pretty big problem.
Yeah, it's interesting that you use the analogy of bigger fish to fry, because I always say that my attention span for fireworks is about the same that I have for aquariums. So after about 10 minutes, I'm done. Right? So fish and fireworks, I'm good for about 10 minutes. So this show would have been perfect for me. But it wasn't perfect for the people who paid to get in the gate, who sat here for hours and hours in the hot sun. The people who lined the shore here with their boats, and they were probably a little bit cooler, right, out on the lake. But no doubt you have to get here early if you want a prime spot. And then you have to sit there all day. And, people invested their time and their money. And the county, as you say, invested their funds, taxpayer funds as well, 20 grand. And then, regardless of the fireworks show, they have to provide security and, first responders out here in the way of paramedics and everything else. So it's a substantial investment by the county, only to have been disappointed this year. The big question now, Ariel, the big question is, does this company get a second shot next year? Undecided. Undecided. The park director tells me. They'll see.
Doug,
Fool
I guess we will. Yeah, fool me once, right? Shame on you. Fool me twice. Shame on me. I guess that's how the saying goes. Doug, thanks for bringing this to our attention, breaking down what people expected there and what they did not get. And we'll stay tuned for more on this later this evening. But Doug, thanks so much for joining us live to discuss what has been unfolding in Troup County. You guys, as we continue here at 2 o'clock, let's talk about some news happening on Capitol Hill and some news regarding our midterm elections. Then we'll get into the latest with Iran. So right now, Democrats are really wanting to replace a controversial candidate running for a Senate seat in Maine. The party is hoping to keep this seat competitive. It's trying to cut ties with current candidate Graham Plattner amid a slew of scandals. Democratic candidate Graham Plattner has yet to drop out of the Maine Senate race, however, but Democrats are really hoping he'll do that. Conversations have already begun about who might take his place. The party is facing a Monday deadline for Plattner to withdraw and still be replaced on the November ballot. Multiple candidates have expressed interest, including former Maine Senate President Troy Jackson, former Public Health Director Dr. Nirav Shah, and current Secretary of State Shenna Bellows, and former Maine CDC Director Jordan Wood. So all some options they're looking at. The choice would ultimately be up to the Maine Democratic Party, but party leaders want to avoid the appearance of any kind of backroom deal being made. If you have been unfamiliar with this story and the scandal that has ensued, basically this candidate, Graham Plattner, has been weighed down by a slew of controversies, including a Nazi-linked tattoo, which you saw him showing off that tattoo just a bit ago and explaining it, as well as allegations of sexual assault. Another one of Plattner's ex-girlfriends has come forward just yesterday, alleging he had a hostile attitude towards women. Plattner's most prominent backers have already withdrawn their support. Senators Chris Murphy and Bernie Sanders have both issued statements urging him to withdraw from the race. But now, in terms of people already in office, let's talk about the questions surrounding Senator Mitch McConnell's health status, because this has continued to grow on Capitol Hill. Some top Republicans say that they've spoken with the senator, but ultimately Mitch McConnell's allies say that they think he is doing well. A spokesperson for Senate Majority Leader John Thune says the two spoke by phone Tuesday on a variety of topics. And Wyoming Senator John Bassero
Barrasso had a 20-minute conversation with McConnell and discussed the midterm elections and the Supreme Court. McConnell was admitted to the hospital June 14th when paramedics responded to a report of cardiac arrest at his home. This was according to dispatch audio. His office continues to say he is improving, but there are concerns as to how alert and conscious he might be. While hospitalized, McConnell's wife, former Transportation Secretary Elaine Chad, went to China but has since returned. Her spokesperson tells Fox News Digital her husband's health was not grave enough to cancel the trip, adding, quote, the secretary was on a long-planned trip in China to support her family's philanthropic endeavors, end quote. Now, McConnell's absence is already having an impact on the GOP's agenda. Last month, 4 Republicans sided with Democrats and passed a war powers resolution because McConnell and Pennsylvania Senator Dave McCormick missed that vote. The former majority leader's absence could make it more difficult for the GOP to pass other key items like an emergency defense bill. So we will keep you updated there. Let's talk about the latest with Iran, because President Trump says the Iran ceasefire deal is off. He is threatening a larger military response after Iran attacked several commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. Because of these attacks, war is back on the table. U.S. forces launched strikes on 80 Iranian targets, including attack boats used by Iran's military to threaten commercial ships. The head of NATO is backing President Trump's military action. And while President Trump started the summit with tough criticism for European allies who withheld support for the United States at the start of the war, he is now happy with how this year's annual NATO summit went. President Trump said that he is glad that things ended as they did. Now let's talk about the latest with Ukraine, because we saw President Trump meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to try to make progress on ending the war with Russia. Now, President Trump says that Putin is willing to meet with Zelensky, but wants to do so in Moscow. Now, that is a complete non-starter for Ukraine. And in other big news, President Trump says the United States is going to give license to Ukraine to allow them to make Patriot air defense missile systems. President Trump met with Ukraine's president. You can see here on the sidelines of the NATO summit in Ankara, Turkey. President Trump says he's giving Ukraine a production license to domestically manufacture Patriot missile interceptors to help counter Russian missile attacks. I'd like to let you guys take a listen to a bit of their exchange.
Sure that we will do everything to stop this war. Yeah, and I'm very happy that our side began to work on drone deal, and it's a very good beginning, and I hope that today I will have possibility to.
Well, we've settled a lot of wars, and this one is the one that I thought maybe would be the easiest. But Putin's a difficult character, and this guy's a difficult character. It's not the easiest thing, and there's a lot of commitment, and there's a lot of love of the countries and everything else. But I think we've made a lot of progress in the last couple of weeks, and we'll see how it all goes. So one of the things we're going to be talking about is we're going to give a license to you to make Patriots. That's pretty cool, right? This way you can't complain that we're not giving them enough. I'd say make them yourself. We haven't informed the company of that yet, but that'll work out all right. I'm sure they'll be thrilled.
So based on what you just heard there, President Trump did acknowledge that the primary manufacturers of Patriot systems, including Lockheed Martin, have not yet been formally notified that Ukraine's going to get this license to make these complex systems. But based on the news reporting that Fox 5 and many other outlets have been doing based on this update, I'm going to guess Lockheed Martin is now aware. As we continue here at 2 o'clock, you guys, we are going to check in on your weather forecast. I'm going to bring you a little closer to home. Taking a look at our timing now, meteorologist Alex Forbes standing by to let us know what to expect as we hit the middle of our week. Welcome back in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for being here. We've got meteorologist Alex Forbes standing by, ready to discuss our weather. What you got for us, Alex?
Oh, I got the forecast for the fish out in the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay.
I'm not kidding. So earlier today, the Colorado State University forecast team updated the forecast for hurricane season, and it's good news. Remember at the start of the season, we had a lot of questions about this El Nino pattern and how fast it was going to settle in. Well, we now know the answer to that question, and the answer is fast. It's because the equatorial Pacific, the area off of, say, the Ecuadorian coast in the Pacific Ocean, is relatively warm. That enhances the winds across the Atlantic basin. So the update today is that the number of named storms is only forecasted now to be a little more than half of what we see in a typical season. So that's a revision downward by 4 storms total from the initial forecast in April. 4 hurricanes still expected, 1 major hurricane. And I know a lot of people are interested in these numbers, which is why I'm showing them. But I always like to remind everybody that it only takes 1 major hurricane to make it an impactful season. So it's still forecasted major hurricane to happen somewhere. Now, I've gotten a real charge out of this camera earlier. I think somebody, a loyal Fox 5 viewer, either messaged somebody else or they themselves were on the jet ski because they were coming by waving to the camera earlier. So if you're watching now, we did see you. Hi back. Hope you had fun out there. Live look over Lake Lanier. I also saw somebody beached on this little peninsula island connector thing out there earlier, which to me I find amusing because the lake is down and that's the reason why it's there. The lake is still down about 5 feet. Most people are going to stay dry today, but a handful of showers will be around. Some rain chances will be possible, if not likely, into the weekend with heat index values continuing to do their thing. 90 in Atlanta right now, 90 in Covington, 93 over in Eatonton. When you factor in that humidity, there you go, 97 in Covington, 100 in Eatonton, 95 in Thomaston, and 97 is your heat index in LaGrange at this hour. Over the next couple of days, our actual air temperatures will be in the mid to low 90s. Then we get into the 80s. How about that? Sunday and Monday. You got to look at that as an inverse of your rain chances, right? The reason why we're going to be so cool, relatively speaking, is because the rain chances are going up to 60% there for Sunday and for Monday. A system's going to approach the area, fire off some showers and storms, basically enhance some of that activity into the afternoon. And as it arrives on Friday, we are actually clipped by a low-end level 1 severe weather risk. But look at the scale of this. It goes from Metro Denver to Rome. So it's a large area, and I like to look at it this way. Northwest Georgia is a small puzzle piece of the larger puzzle, right? So while there will be the threat for some stronger storms up there in Calhoun, Rome, the Chattanooga area, broadly speaking, it's nothing I'm losing any sleep over, concerned about. It's there. It's summertime in Georgia. It's going to storm, right? That's how it goes. Speaking of which, there are your storm chances going up. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It does look like Sunday and Monday are going to be the wettest days. Looking beyond that, of course, our next match day is next Wednesday. 84 to 90 is a 6-degree temperature swing. I expect a much more substantial temperature swing into the middle part of next week.
Okay.
Could potentially be the hottest air we've seen all season.
Good to know. Alex, thank you so much. Yep. Stay tuned. Guys, let's continue here with this wild story that unfolded in California. You're looking at video of police in California pulling over a Waymo vehicle, but the reason might not be what you expect. The San Mateo Police Department in California got an unusual call, and it was from a Waymo operator who had been monitoring video of 2 passengers inside the vehicle, and it appeared they had been firing a gun from the car's window. This happened Monday afternoon, and ultimately that Waymo operator had been watching the cameras inside that driverless taxi, reported 2 passengers appeared to be firing a gun outside the windows of the vehicle. Police say the Waymo support operator then directed the vehicle to pull over along El Camino Real, and within minutes, about half a dozen San Mateo police were there and surrounded the vehicle. They found 2 15-year-old boys inside who appeared to have been drinking alcohol and had a toy gun. Police say that this gel-like Orbeez pellets were actually in the car as well, and they can be dangerous. The gun was painted to look like a real firearm. So interesting that we've covered a gel pellet shooting here in California. A Waymo spokesperson sent their policy statements, which say that interior cameras are used by support teams to assist with customer service, and quote, occasionally more urgent circumstances, support may access live video during a trip. The Waymo policy also states that they may share certain data with law enforcement as needed to comply with legal requirements, enforcement agreements, and to protect public safety. Keep in mind, they say that gun was painted to look like a real firearm, as you can see, but that is how that situation unfolded in California. And let's talk about something, because I know you guys get frustrated about this. We all buy a window seat on a plane thinking that we're actually going to see a window and be seated near a window, and then we sit down only to find out our window seat is non-existent. Well, now United Airlines is facing a lawsuit over just that, and they're not the only one here, because this lawsuit alleges that they need to clearly disclose missing windows during the booking process. A federal judge ruled Monday that United Airlines must face this class action lawsuit. Passengers pay extra to sit in a window seat that may not have a window. United's defense says that window only refers to the location of the seat, that position, and the airline does not guarantee outside views. However, the judge said that United's terms state that the carriers would provide window seats to passengers who paid for them. And the lawsuit says United charges more than $50 for a window seat on domestic routes, and the fee can exceed over $100,000 on international flights. The lawsuit pertains to certain Boeing and Airbus models where walls sometimes align with operating components, and ultimately, this is something that a lot of people decide to buy windows because they deal with motion sickness, anxiety, flying anxiety, and the window kind of helps alleviate that. United says it added more detail to its seat selection process on its website and app last year, so customers can, quote, have more information about what to expect when they choose a seat. According to Reuters, Delta Airlines is also facing a similar lawsuit. Let's talk about the price of your Forever stamps, because the United States Postal Service is increasing the Forever stamp price. The service says that they will implement a 4-cent increase on stamps and raising prices from 78 cents a piece to 82 cents a piece. This new rate is going to go into effect this Sunday, July 12th, and it will take effect when the post office opens the next day. That would be Monday. So if you need some stamps, this is your week to buy them before they do go up by a few cents. This comes after the USPS filed notice earlier this year with the Postal Regulatory Commission. And in that notice, it said it was one of several changes that officials were making to increase revenue because the agency could run out of money within a year. We will keep you updated on that. But again, now's the week to get your stamps if you need them. Coming up here, we are going to bring you here to the Fox 5 newsroom. We're going to bring in Eric Perry. We're going to talk about the latest surrounding radio host Big Tigger and his estranged wife, who is now facing charges. What those charges are, Eric's going to break it down, and more on the legal saga that is playing out. Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for being live with us here at 2 o'clock. We are covering the unfolding saga, Eric, and now has turned into a bit more of a legal saga that we are seeing with Big Tigger, his estranged wife. I understand she has been arrested on some pretty serious charges.
Yeah, it's a never-ending story, it feels like. So this is completely separate from the domestic abuse charges that her estranged husband, Big Tigger, faces. This is her on her own, Alicia Brown. So on the 7th, which was yesterday, she was arrested. This is her mugshot in Hart County. She was around mile marker 177 on Interstate 85 when a deputy there at their sheriff's department saw her car, and they had a bolo be on the lookout for and she was in a Range Rover, a black Range Rover. They pulled her over with the license plate matching. Here's a little bit from that arrest warrant, the incident report here that we were able to get our hands on here. At the time, she had, from Fulton County Sheriff's Office, there was a warrant there for her arrest in relation to that. Within the past 10 minutes, our assignment desk and our digital team, Jameson, she has talked with the Fulton County Clerk's Office, who have said since that arrest yesterday, those warrants here in Fulton County have been dismissed. Now, there is still another warrant, which is kidnapping charges. This is coming out of Baltimore County, Maryland. We have not been able to get those arrest warrants, they say, until she's extradited back and has a first appearance in court up there. But she did have a first appearance this morning. Again, this is all related to around a daughter, a child, where there seems to be just some custody issues with. I talked with a lawyer one-on-one earlier today just to break down these charges. So keep in mind, we're not, you know, the traditional sense of when you hear kidnapping, you know, maybe force. That is not the kidnapping we're necessarily thinking of in this particular case. But when it comes to children in custody, if she is not the legal guardian, if she doesn't have any rights and she has or knows of something or takes or places a child somewhere else, then that is where this all comes in. And a lot of this, we believe, is unfolding since that first incident. Again, not related to this, but the public, the notoriety, and just the social media of it all. We believe maybe the child's father might have come forward to police up there in Baltimore County. Take a listen to just some of the questions that I was able to ask a defense attorney here, really good criminal attorney.
It could have come from the child's father. Maybe he reignited the issue because he was the one that initially was awarded custody from a family law dispute. Now, do I think it's kidnapping in the sense when most people traditionally think of kidnapping? No. But the law does encompass that if you do not have full legal rights and you take your child, that is kidnapping. There is a felony interference with custody here in Georgia as well. So they've taken out a warrant here as well as the kidnapping warrant in Maryland as well. So she's got 2 cases that she has to face. So once she's either granted bond on the case in Maryland, she's going to have to return to Georgia and address those felony charges of interference with custody.
We've done that interview. It sounds like whatever happened in Fulton County, those warrants, that has been either dismissed or that is not applicable or applicable to what we're talking about anymore. But I did talk with Baltimore County Police. She will be extradited back to Baltimore. That could take place within the next 30 days. It just kind of depends there, but she did have her first appearance. But to put it plainly, if I was going to write a simple line, this is really just a messy situation, right? We're not only, of course, dealing with what we saw earlier when it came to Big Tigger, but now she has her own issues that are coming about. And the lawyer was saying, you know, I asked, will any of these kind of overlap? If, you know, will Big Tigger's legal team come forward and maybe use some of this against her? Very well could be the case, even though they are 2 separate ones. His legal team could show, you know, this is what she has a history of or something like that. So it can be used against her in a certain way. And then obviously a lot of the social media posts that we've been seeing, unfortunately, he calls Facebook and Instagram the FBI because it's just so much information that's out there. And now we're just seeing a lot of what you're putting online will be used when it comes to a court of law.
It's, you know, don't let the Facebook and Instagram sleuths, the TikTok FBI get to it of it all. Eric, I appreciate you breaking it down so thoroughly, because we have seen so much back and forth online, and it's really important to focus on what is confirmed and what we do know. And unfortunately, this situation is messy, like you mentioned, and it's embroiled not just him and his estranged wife, but also a co-host, right? And it's to the point where...
And children.
Yes,
now, because
children.
they share a child together. She has another child. There were two, I believe there were 2 kids, and I'm so old, I have glasses now.
As you should, do it.
There were 2 kids in the car at the time of the arrest that are also entangled in this, as well as a 3rd child that we're talking about, who we believe might be 17 years old. So
always one thing when it's adults, but quite another when children are involved.
Exactly.
Eric, thank you for your reporting. I appreciate your hard work, as always. We'll see you again later this evening. Guys, as we continue here, we are going to switch gears, as I want to get you guys an update on a story that we are following related to our veterans. This is pretty special. 7 veterans are going to get to fly in a World War II era plane in Gwinnett today. Our Chris Rosenthal joins us live from the airfield. Chris, it is great to see you. Have the veterans already taken off? Are they back on ground? Where are we at in the day?
They are all back on ground, all safely back on ground. You know, they started around 9 o'clock this morning, those 7 veterans, aged 79 to 93, getting the opportunity to take a flight in this 1942 Stearman aircraft here, World War II era aircraft. Now, these veterans were not World War II veterans, but they do have service dating back to Vietnam, even the Korean War, and really a special experience for them. They wrapped up about an hour or so ago. They're off to lunch right now, but I'll tell you, it was really amazing watching them ride in this aircraft. They came here. This is the 3rd year in a row that Phoenix Senior Living has brought their residents, their veteran residents, out for these flights, partnering with Dream Flights. They're a nonprofit that goes around the country giving these veterans this opportunity and really honoring them with these flights here. It's really special to watch. Really special to watch how they care for them, how the pilots really take their time to get to know them, ask them their stories, ask them how they served, where they served, and then carefully, patiently loading them in the aircraft, as you can imagine. Different levels of physical ability here. But I talked to some of these veterans. They're just so happy, so excited to have this opportunity, this recognition. I talked with one of them, Ron. Ron's actually 93 years old. It's amazing how good a shape he was in, and he really enjoyed it. Let's take a listen to him and a little bit from the folks from Dream Flights.
It was very, very smooth. It was very, very enjoyable. I guess being used to same commercial aircraft, the little air pockets you hardly felt, and just being able to see the scenery and the number of warehouses and new construction around here. And you're close by, not compared to when you fly in. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was very nice of these gentlemen to do this for us, and the whole organization. Yeah.
What does it mean to you to have these people take the time to give you guys the opportunity to do this?
Well, you never, I guess, yes, I served, and it was back in the 50s and 60s. I never expected this kind of recognition as I moved forward in my life. I thought it was, he did his job, he's forgotten, and so be it. But it's nice to be recognized by these different organizations, and they do something for you. And thank you for your service, and thank you. And, they've said thank you for your service so much. And, I used to say, well, thank you. And I've learned to say, it's my duty, my honor, my pleasure to serve my country. And that's meant more to me as the years have gone by.
What's the reaction when they go up there and they come back down?
I'm going to use a quote I got a couple of days ago from one of our Dream Flyers. He said, "I've been sedentary so long that I've forgotten what it's like to live." And that is his quote after he got done with one of the flights. That's what we get when we do it, and the veterans, they get a lot. They go back in time, they remember things, they have that experience that they just haven't had in a long, long time.
Yeah, and you're talking about for you guys as well. How does it make you feel? What do you guys get out of it?
we just love it. We love the ability to give back. It pulls at our heartstrings to watch the veterans just have such an emotional reaction. And there's really not a lot of words you can say. You need to come out one day and just enjoy what goes on and how the veterans are affected.
Yeah, they had perfect weather for this today. And, what's really cool is they've been doing this a while here, the Dream Flight people. And these are just some signatures they have here of some World War II veterans that they have flown over the years. This aircraft here is World War II era. It's one that would have been used for training pilots during World War II. You can see they're fueling it up now, getting it ready to move on to the next mission here on Cartersville. That's where they'll be on Friday, giving more rides to more veterans. But today the action was here in Lawrenceville at Briscoe Field, and really amazing to see these veterans and just the look of joy on their face. It's a real wonderful day out for all of them.
Chris, it seems like such a special moment for everyone to share. I especially loved what the coordinator mentioned about just going back in time and how they're able to relive what it was like to be a part of maybe some of the better parts of their service. So this is really special, and I'm glad that they're able to get this opportunity through their living facility, because I know that's not always possible. So Chris, I appreciate it. This is a great story, and we'll see you again here upcoming at 3 o'clock. Guys, as we take a look at our time here at 2, coming up straight ahead, I want to talk to you about a way that you can help benefit survivors of Venezuela's double deadly earthquakes. Our Maria Guzman has been at a service drive talking about some of the items that are desperately needed that is coming up. Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstad. Thanks so much for being here with us at 2 o'clock. Let's talk about the Latin American Association, what they're doing to help families struggling to recover from the deadly earthquakes in Venezuela. Our Maria Guzman joins us live to talk about that relief effort. And Maria, it is great to see you. How can we help?
Hey, Ariel. Yeah, Yes, this drive is called the United for Venezuela. It's taking place here at the Latin American Association. And I have here the organizers behind that to talk to us about the items they need, the items that they don't need. But also, I want to start with Maria here, because Maria, you're from Venezuela. You have families that live in the central Venezuela. So just walk me through, how are they doing, one, and two, what are they telling you from being them on the ground?
Okay, so they're fine, thank God, just minor damage. But what is happening right now in Venezuela is that they are looking just decrease all the products that they were receiving before, and they are just asking for help, people who help to, extract people from the buildings that just fall off, and just asking for help. That's it.
I know you mentioned that the help is starting to kind of die down a little bit. It's been about 2 or 3 weeks now. So it sounds like the help is very needed right now.
Yes, we still need help in Venezuela. It's just not for the buildings, for the people, but they need food, they need diapers, they need canned food, they need to find a way to stabilize all the people that lost everything there.
Okay. And, we do have some items here that we're going to go through about what they need, right? The key. So, Andrea, just walk us through the items you guys are looking for, the ones that are in demand right now in Venezuela.
Yeah, so we're really looking for basic necessity items, those items that we use every day. So non-perishable food items, so canned goods. We're looking for hygiene products and also feminine hygiene products, basic medical supplies, diapers, and formula.
I know a lot of the times people, the first thing they do is donate water, but these things are being sent overseas, right, to Venezuela, so that can be a problem. So the items that you guys don't need regarding logistics, because it gets complicated.
Correct. I mean, we really want to stick to those non-perishable canned good items, the diapers, the formula, hygiene products, and then, basic first aid products, because we're going to take them, they will be shipped to Miami, and then they'll go directly to Venezuela from there.
I know this donation drive was supposed to end today, but you guys are expanding. Why the extension of this drive, but also how can people help if they want to come and drop by?
Yeah, we extended it because it's been a little slow getting the donations and want to have time to get the word out. But we're collecting donations today through 7 p.m., tomorrow 9 to 7, and Friday 9 to 4.
Okay, so people have time today and also all the way until Friday to come and donate. So guys, there it is. I'll send things back to you. Stay with us and we'll talk more about this.
Maria, thank you so much for letting us know how to get involved. I know we'll see you again at 3 o'clock. Kudos to the hard work of everyone trying to come together to help people struggling from these disasters. Guys, let's talk about disasters a little bit further and how first responders deal with them. Our Eli Jordan got to go to a demonstration today with first responders, taking a look at their training and how they respond in specialized types of disasters. Check it out.
Hey, that's right. I'm actually at a job site here in Henry County. Carmichael Development out here clearing the land, about to put up a big development. But they invited Henry County Fire Department out here so they can show their workers and also give Henry County a little bit more training about what happens when a trench collapses, when you're doing some trench work. Utilities down in there, you want to be safe. You don't want to have a whole bunch of earth come falling down on you, and then it's usually not a rescue mission, it's usually a recovery mission. And so Carmichael Development wanted to show their employees what it takes for a fire department to come out here, perform a rescue/recovery mission, because it's not fast, because the fire department has to protect their men too. And so Carmichael Development, Henry County Fire Department, they teamed up and they gave a little demo today about what can happen and how long it takes to recover anyone that is trapped in a trench collapse. Now, it's a long process. It's a lot of work. They got to make sure the air quality is good, because you never know what anybody may have hit when you're digging down in the ditch. Was it a gas line? Was there any electricity? Is there any water coming in there? There's a lot of things to consider when they're doing this. And Carmichael employees got a really good dose of the reality of what it takes for a fire department to come out here and take care of a trench collapse. Now, I spoke to Michael Hicks, who is the shift commander for Henry County Fire Department, and also spoke to Glenda Harris, who is with the Georgia Utilities and Contractors Association. How often do you guys respond to trench collapse?
Trench collapse, it's not as often as you would think, but we do have that on occasion because we are all hazards department, so we respond to whether it's rescue, high or low, underwater or surface water rescues, trench, confined space. So we're all hazards departments.
How valuable would you say this kind of training is for you guys?
Oh, it's very valuable because this could be a yearly thing. We may get one time a year to actually open up Mother Earth and actually train in it. So sometimes we don't want to mess up the opportunity, if that makes sense.
So this is a little bonus then, getting somebody else that's doing this?
100%.
Is this common to have something like this, a partnership between a developer and the fire department?
I would say it's a growing commonality. Because, some of our other members, we have almost 600 members in the state of Georgia, and they're all underground utilities. And so this is our really main focus of excavation. And so a lot of our members have started building those relationships with local fire departments in different areas so that we can make sure that they're trained to protect us and that we know what to do. And it also brings awareness to the crews when they see this type of demonstration taking place, because the reality is how often is it a rescue but a recovery.
Carmichael Development wants to keep their employees on their toes when it comes to groundwork, trench work. Don't be a victim in one of these trenches because, as Henry County Fire Department showed, it takes a little while to get to you if the earth does collapse on you. And also, too, Carmichael wants to demonstrate that, they're a good employer and they care about their employees, and they're also a good neighbor. And they hope to do this later on this year up in Cherokee County, where they have other developments and where their home headquarters is. Back to you.
All right, Eli, thanks so much for the demonstration and showing us how first responders might work through situations just like these. As we continue here, you guys, I'm Ariel Onstop. More to come at 3 with Tom Haynes. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the 3 p.m. streaming hour on this Wednesday afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us here on Fox Local. I'm your host, Tom Haynes. So glad you're with us this afternoon as we cover a lot of ground, a lot of stories making news on this midweek. We're going to begin with new details emerging in the criminal history of a murder suspect, Marlo Hawkins. Records now showing that he's accused of a rape reported just last Friday with a rap sheet just as long. Let's get out to our Annie Mapp, who's on top of this story. Annie, you were talking to family here yesterday. Now this new disturbing development emerges about the suspect in this case.
Hi, Tom. Marlo Hawkins actually went before a judge this afternoon, and he is now facing 3 separate cases, one being for the murder of Juan Gabriel Sanchez, a second case being for burglary, and then a third case being for rape and kidnapping as well. These are some very serious charges that prompted us to take a deeper look into his criminal record, and we learned that he was just released from prison back in December of last year. So these crimes have now occurred within these last few months that he has had freedom, but of course now he is back behind bars. A judge that he saw today told him that he would not be able to give him bond, that he will have to go before a superior court judge to see if bond could be considered in this case. But of course he is now facing 3 separate cases and has this long criminal history. I mean, Tom, we learned that back in 2019 he escaped from prison in Washington, in Butts County, and then tried to escape from prison again a year later. So we spoke to the loved ones of Juan Gabriel Sanchez. They are very upset, not only because they're grieving with the loss of their loved one, but they feel that the suspect should have been behind bars a long time ago. Just take a listen at what his mother told us. Why did you leave my son just laying here? Please. I don't think he deserved this. No one deserves a death like this. And we do know that those 2 separate cases that we learned about today, again, are from crimes that occurred from the time he was released from prison in December of last year to last week. Now, I did reach out to DeKalb County Police to try to get exact dates of when these crimes occurred and to try to learn a little more information. But, Tom, as we'll show our viewers later, the rap sheet is pretty long, and he has crimes that date back to the late 90s here in Georgia.
Well, and that's just it, Annie. When you consider the family in this case and their search for closure, and moreover, their search for justice in this case, and then you learn more about the suspect and his long rap sheet, it must make them even more upset.
They are very frustrated. You know, they feel that if the suspect could have been behind bars before, you know, maybe their loved one would still be here. So a lot of emotions, not just for the family of this victim, but also this unidentified victim in the case of the rape and kidnapping, which we are still working to, again, learn when exactly that crime happened.
Well, we know that you're on top of this story. You're speaking with investigators and family about the suspect in this case, in this disturbing murder investigation. Annie Mapp reporting live for us from DeKalb County. Annie, thanks so much. Also in the news here at 3 o'clock this afternoon, 2 Kennesaw teenagers are behind bars facing felony charges after police say they targeted a neighborhood in a series of random pellet gun attacks. Investigators say that a 15 and a 16-year-old drove through the Legacy Park community, opening fire from a moving vehicle with an Orbeez gel gun. The victims included a runner, a cyclist, and an 11-year-old boy who was struck roughly 20 times while walking his dog with his cousin. So imagine how terrifying this is. You're walking through your neighborhood and these teenagers drive through with what is a pellet gun, but you don't know that, and you're on the other end of this gun. Police use neighborhood license plate readers to quickly track the suspects to a home just a few miles away. Both teenagers now charged with aggravated assault and cruelty to children. And detectives say Ackworth police are also investigating them for similar pellet gun incidents. A DeKalb County armed robbery investigation has ended in a deadly gunfire round last night off Rockbridge Road. Officers responded to an active robbery call in the 3300 block of Rameau Way when confronting and shooting a man at that scene. He was rushed to a local hospital where he was pronounced dead. No officers or bystanders happen to have been injured during that confrontation, and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation has been called in to conduct an independent review. Local workers are taking to the streets to protest the rapid rise of artificial intelligence and automation in our communities. Labor advocates say that it's threatening workers' privacy without public oversight, and they are worried. Fox 5's Deidre Dukes live in Midtown with a look at what these groups are demanding from elected officials. Deidre?
Hey, Tom, as I started talking to these union representatives, it really struck home that really here in Atlanta, we're among a handful of cities that really have seen the rise of modern technology here within the past few years, really definitely within the past year or so, if you think about it, with Waymos driving through the city of Atlanta from the south side to downtown Atlanta to Buckhead, really seeing there's one actually passing by me right now, almost on cue there, Tom. But it's really one of those situations where even the delivery robots that we've seen here in the downtown area, especially around the college campuses we have here, Georgia Tech and Georgia State University. You see that, and folks have a lot of different opinions about it, but it is, advancement in technology, and there's a lot of good there. But there's also a lot of concern among those people who rely on those delivery jobs and also on the rideshare drivers who rely on being able to get folks back and forth here around the metro. They're really concerned that as we see the advent of this technology, that it's taking jobs away from people who really use this as their livelihood. This is something that they do day in and day out. And so they are joining with some other unions who also have concerns about AI in general and how it's impacting not only here in Georgia, but across the country, how it's impacting the workforce and impacting jobs. And so they do plan to hold a rally, a demonstration in Old Fourth Ward Park tomorrow, and they're also going to make their way here to City Hall where they plan to make their voices heard. Here's what a representative for the rideshare union told us today.
You do not get back and forth from your car to your terminal without touching those folks. If they wanted to, they could shut down the airport.
That's not the right vote.
That is not an exaggeration. Gina Pagnotta is the vice president of our national union. She asked us, because of her relationship with you guys, to come here and talk to you guys first before we shut down the airport. So we're here by her request. So you're lucky, I'm just going to say that right now, you're lucky she has faith in all of you. This is what we are asking for. These folks constantly do not have they don't have accurate.
We understand that innovation is something that we cannot stop, and it's here to stay, and it's here to improve our lives as well. But the thing is this, let's look at it this way. It's not a question of can you.
And so, Tom, to really wrap it all up, it really is one of those things where the gentleman was saying it's not that we don't want technology. We realize that technology is here and it's advancing at a rapid rate. But just like, the controversy over data centers, it's not so much are we going to have them, but how can we integrate things like, AI data centers, all of the robotics and the Waymos and things of that nature that we see here in society now. How do we integrate all that and at the same time still assure that those who are working in some of these industries, that they don't lose their jobs as a result of it? So just a lot of conversation surrounding this issue, and we expect to hear a lot more when that rally gets underway at Old Fourth Ward Park at 4 o'clock.
Well, it's
tomorrow. 4 o'clock tomorrow.
Tomorrow, right? As you said earlier, Deidre, it is a collision course that is going to inevitably happen between the workforce, men and women who go out there every day and make a living, and intelligence and automation and data technology and data aggregation and artificial intelligence and self-driving vehicles. It's going to affect every facet of society one way or the other. It's just, as you have been reporting, how even state, local, and federal lawmakers act to soften the blow, if you will, because it is coming. and it's sort of a redistribution of the workforce, what that's going to look like and how that's going to happen. But you can't blame people for being afraid for their own jobs. And then how do I make a livelihood? If I'm a garbage collector and my garbage truck becomes automated, the arm going out to grab the garbage can to pour it into the truck becomes automated, the Waymos become automated. It's like, what kind of work skills do I need to adapt next in order to fight back against artificial intelligence?
Right. And as you know, Tom, we've seen Waymos here in Atlanta, just to give you an example, Waymos here in Atlanta just over the past year. I think we just marked the 1-year anniversary. I believe it would have been on June 25th of this year of Waymos being here in the city of Atlanta. And one of the rideshare drivers that I spoke with said that within that time alone, he's seen his workload drop by about 50%. And so he said it is very concerning for everybody in the industry.
Yeah. Well, which makes people speaking up and speaking out, a necessary part of this whole process. Deidre Dukes on top of that story for us this afternoon as to how AI, automation, innovation is going to impact the workforce. Deidre, thanks so much for that. Let's move on now. Talk about a Lilburn family who's asking for the public's help to lay a loved one to rest after a tragic holiday weekend accident on Lake Allatoona. 28-year-old Fidel Ajawang drowned Sunday afternoon after jumping off the back of a ski boat near Glade Marina, we understand. Game wardens and fire crews searched for hours using sonar equipment before recovering his body just after midnight in 6 feet of water. Ajawang's death was one of 4 drownings reported statewide over the 4th of July weekend, a stretch that also saw 34 boating under the influence arrests on Georgia waterways. Also in the news here at 3 o'clock, a Cobb County domestic dispute escalated into deadly gunfire last night, leaving 1 woman dead and another man in the hospital. Officers responded to a home on Laurel Creek Trail near Smyrna just before 8 o'clock, finding a male victim suffering from a gunshot wound. He was rushed to the local hospital there in that area for treatment, while a woman found inside the home was pronounced dead at the scene. Police arrested a 3rd man at the property without incident, and investigators confirmed this was an isolated domestic violence case with no ongoing threat to the public. On to Douglas County now, where the commission has denied a permit for a proposed 700-acre data center campus along Interstate 20. The 4-1 vote follows intense public opposition from residents worried about noise and infrastructure problems and a drag on the community. Let's get out to our Kevin Stewart now, who's covering this story. We just talked to Deidre about AI, automation, and things like that. These data centers are very much part of this overall debate, Kevin.
Absolutely. AI, internet. We got to have data centers. It's just about where do you put them. Folks in Douglas County have said, not in my backyard. Right now, the county has 8 up and running and 11 have already been permitted. And folks basically said, hey, we just don't want this in our community anymore. We're tired of it. This project, you noted, 700 acres. The project would have had some buffer space, so about 500 acres, but the project was huge. We're talking about 4.4 million square feet. And so we had a chance to listen to this just incredibly passionate public hearing. We had people on both sides, people who are arguing that we need to get with the program. AI is here. We need to take advantage of this. We need this revenue in our community. You know, there's no big deal. And others saying we're worried about the environment, worried about property values, we're worried about our water bills, our power bills. And so folks went back and forth for more than an hour, about 2 hours. And in the end, that final vote was 4-1. I want you to listen to one person who was arguing against the project, and then the county commissioner who represents that district in western Douglas County, that's District 4, Mark Alcaraz. He voted against the project, but he provided some context why these projects are putting so much pressure on the community and elected leaders. He says that vote was not easy. Take a listen.
Douglas County has already welcomed numerous data centers. I understand the importance of economic development, but our community has done its part. We should not continue sacrificing our natural resources, our neighborhoods, and our future for another project that offers limited long-term benefits to the people who actually live here. I support bringing businesses and jobs to our county, but data centers are different. Despite their massive footprint and strain to our local infrastructure, they create relatively few long-term jobs once the construction is complete. And just how many of those few jobs are being filled exclusively by Douglas County residents?
Let me be honest and very clear also. Whether you know it or not, these data centers, once these others come off the abatements, nothing that had to do with this board, but once they come off abatements, they're going to bring revenue, and it's what's going to be great to the county. We're 25 years behind in our road infrastructure. That money has got to come from somewhere. Our county continues to grow. There's a lot that we stress over to think of what can we do to where we do not have to raise your taxes, because insurance, please just give me a moment, the insurance on the sheriff's office goes up $2 million. We got air systems going out throughout the county. We're having to repair the roof here on the courthouse.
Hey, he's talking about this courthouse behind me. We're trying to find out how much that costs and how much revenue is generated by the data centers currently without the tax abatements that will soon lapse. We're still trying to get that information from the county, but this is a fascinating debate, one that is not really unique to Douglas County, truth be told, and it's something that will continue to be debated throughout the state of Georgia and the United States for that matter. Tom?
Well, Kevin, you make an excellent point there. This is just a slice of a larger debate that's happening really in communities across the United States. The impact of these data centers on these local communities and what's in it for the local community. In other words, if the data center is there, pumping out information, data, and bringing in tons of revenue, and I believe I heard correctly, but perhaps you can correct me if I'm wrong, that these commissioners and residents are simply saying, to control that development, number one, all right, and then to somehow recapture some revenue to put back into the community for things like infrastructure projects and repairs on government buildings.
Yeah, I mean, that's the bottom line. I mean, this is something that when you talk about attracting industry, when we talked about this story last week, previewing this public hearing, I got into it a bit how, Georgia now, particularly Metro Atlanta, has become the epicenter for this type of project because the Washington, D.C. area had really been the real driving force of this, particularly Northern Virginia, where that was really where you saw all these data centers with Amazon and Google and such, and now there's been a lot of pushback there in Northern Virginia, the Maryland side of the D.C. suburbs, and even in West Virginia, in that part of the Washington D.C. area. And the difference there is that community, because West Virginia has struggled for industry, they are actively recruiting data centers there because for them that means jobs and tax revenue. And so it's a fascinating debate, and that's folded over here, right here in Georgia right now.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how each of these unique communities with unique situations reconcile the impact of these data centers coming into their backyards, so to speak. Kevin Stewart in Douglas County for us this afternoon. Kevin, great reporting on this issue. Thanks so much. Let's turn now to Capitol Hill and Democrats in a lot of trouble, if you will, over this candidate up in Maine that you might have heard about, the Maine Democratic Party rushing to salvage a critical midterm Senate seat as pressure mounts on candidate Graham Planter to drop out amid a growing scandal. Now, this is an issue that we discussed on Red Clay Rundown here last night at 8 o'clock. And if you joined us for that program, it streams right here on Fox Local every single night at 8. I was filling in for Russ Spencer at the time. But we discussed the Graham Planter situation, the impact perhaps on the balance of power in the United States Senate. Planter facing a Monday deadline to withdraw so that the party can legally replace him on the November ballot. Of course, this move follows fresh allegations from another ex-girlfriend concerning his behavior toward women and accusations of sexual assault. adding to existing controversies involving a Nazi-linked tattoo on him and previous assault allegations. So this guy's in a lot of political trouble, if you will. While the national leaders like Bernie Sanders have already withdrawn their support, our two Senate Democrats here in Georgia, Ossoff and Warnock, have also withdrawn their support. State Democrats are reportedly vetting several replacements while trying to avoid the appearance of a Washington-backed deal. Of course, Susan Collins, the sitting senator, Republican senator up in Maine, running for re-election against whomever emerges from that primary, but Graham Planter, the current leading candidate, in a heap of trouble, and a lot of Democrats turning their backs on him now that these new, fresh allegations have emerged. Questions continue to swirl around the health of Senator Mitch McConnell, but his allies insist that the Kentucky Republican is recovering and remaining engaged on business in Capitol Hill. Spokesperson for Senator John Thune and John Barrasso confirmed both leaders spoke with McConnell by phone Tuesday to discuss the midterm elections and the Supreme Court. McConnell has been hospitalized since June 14th following an emergency call to his home for cardiac arrest. Through his office maintains that he is improving. The senator's prolonged absence is already impacting the GOP agenda, contributing to a missed war powers vote last month and threatening uncertainty for an upcoming emergency defense bill. The president is meeting with NATO leaders over in Turkey. President Trump saying that the ceasefire deal with Iran now over, rattling markets. The Dow Jones Industrial Average down almost 600 points this afternoon, threatening a larger military presence in that region after Iran attacked several commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. Because of these attacks, war is back on the table, according to the president, with U.S. forces launching strikes on 80 Iranian targets, including attack boats used by Iran's military to threaten commercial ships.
That's a lot of press. Wow. Well, it's important stuff. And, you know, our team out here, they've all become stars, superstars, actually. But we want to thank you very much. We've had a tremendous time and I think a great success. And we just concluded a very successful NATO summit here in Turkey. And I want to thank President Erdogan, who's really a great man. He's a great leader. He's a friend of mine, been a friend of mine for a long time. He's a strong person, a very strong personality, and that's why he runs such a successful and good country, and really a great, I would say, a great country. Militarily, he's very powerful. People leave him alone. But he's really done a fantastic job. And from the moment we got off the plane, you look at the airports were beautiful.
All right, just a taste of the president's news conference there, the NATO news conference over in Turkey, with his cabinet standing shoulder to shoulder, so to speak, on either side of the president. The president would go on to talk about the situation in Iran, how they've thrown out this mutual understanding agreement, and that the military efforts in Iran have continued. So we'll see how that unfolds really for the remainder of this week. As we continue here, meteorologist Alex Forbes waiting in the wings to talk to us about the rest of this week's forecast. It's hot out there. If you're in the shade, it's not too bad. But Alex is here to tell us if this summer-like weather is going to continue into the weekend when we come back. everybody. Welcome back to the 3 p.m. streaming hour here on Fox Local. Tom Haynes, joined by meteorologist Alex Forbes, as we take a live look outside. Boy, wouldn't it be nice to be out on a boat right now?
I think we got to take the show on the road.
We got to do the 3 p.m. streaming hour on Fox Local on the road.
So little do you know, this camera is sitting on top of a restaurant on a pier.
Oh, well, we could do it right from the restaurant.
There you go.
Have a little lunch, talk about how nice the weather is.
Alex and Tom at Pelican Pete's.
For the full hour.
Exactly.
I'm going to talk to our general manager about that, see if he can make it happen for us.
Yeah, so look, I tell you what, if we were sitting out there, we might be saying that, man, we wish we were back inside.
Right.
It's hot out here. Temperatures are in the 90s pretty much area-wide. The humidity is out there. Technically, there in Gainesville, it's 88. Now, that camera's on the Forsyth County side of the lake, but it has a Gainesville mailing address, so it's Gainesville. 89 in Canton, 97. That is the actual air temperature now in Eatonton. We do have a handful of storms down to the south, one there on the Bibb-Jones County line right around downtown Macon, another one back in towards the Washington County area in Sandersville. Other than that, we're relatively quiet across northern Georgia, just a spot shower or two across DeKalb County. But that 97 in Eatonton leads you to a heat index of 106. Feels like 97 here in the city. 91 in Gainesville, 93 in Griffin, 95 in LaGrange and in Thomaston at this hour. So, you have a handful of showers and storms today and tomorrow. Rain chances, though, they will be on the rise into the weekend before those heat index values continue to hover, if you will, in the upper 90s each and every afternoon. So for this evening, we'll call it mostly clear across the metro area. Temperatures falling through the 80s. Then for tomorrow, 80 at 9 a.m. before we get back into the 90s. Only a slim chance of rain for tomorrow afternoon. Overall, I'd put the rain chance at about 40% for tomorrow, which is a change if you were watching in the 2 o'clock hour. Just updated the forecast here. And still, I've got Sunday and Monday as wetter than not days, if you will. Not a guarantee that everybody's going to see rain both days.
Especially Sunday.
Exactly. You know, it's nothing to go canceling your plans over, is another way I've been putting it. It rains in the summertime, right? You know, you're able to still get through the day. So here's a closer look at that, right? Hot and humid on Saturday, scattered storms. Notice your temperature a little cooler there on Sunday. There will be a front in the neighborhood. It's not a cold front. It's not going to drop us dramatically in the temperature department. It's just going to kind of enhance that summertime storm activity across the metro area. So the result is slightly cooler temperatures. We'll say mid to low 80s. Sunday and Monday, but that does come with those showers and storms. That's why it's so cool. And then notice you start that new warming trend to take us towards our next match day here in Atlanta with the FIFA World Cup. So you add it all up, looks like summertime to me. Now, here's the other thing that I think is underappreciated, Tom. An overnight low temperature of 78, 79, 80 to me is night and day versus 71, 70.
Is that what we had last week?
It is.
Yeah.
I remember I was coming to do Good Day Atlanta one morning. I live in an apartment and walked out into the parking garage.
Just hits you in the face.
It was 3:30 in the morning and the words in my head were, oh my, it's hot. It's straight up hot outside.
Yeah. Good thing you didn't have a bad hair day because of the humidity.
Yeah, exactly. I don't do anything to my hair until I get here, so.
So the 81 on Monday, that's dependent on the rain, or it's just going to be a cool day outside?
Well, both. It's dependent on the rain, but there's going to be enough of it and enough cloud cover across the metro area that I'm confident in that number, right? Like, now, 82, we'll say between 80 and 83 is what I'm expecting. I just locked in on 81 for Atlanta, this 5 days out.
And then as we go into the work week, Sunday, Monday, looking at an increased chance for rain. So we're going to have to, keep our umbrellas handy.
And storms, right? So
get ready for some showers.
My general rule of thumb is don't hold a big metal rod up in the air if it's storming outside. So the umbrella is only when there's no thunder.
Okay, I was buying a little extra time because we got our reporter Larry Spoitzi here this story.
The helicopter.
He went up with the chopper with Atlanta police. So we're going to get to him in a second. I'm going to read something in order for you to be able to get off the set. Thank you very much, Alex Forbes. I want to talk to you about this Waymo vehicle. Remember, Deidre talked about the Waymos not too long ago, this automated vehicle. Well, how's this for a crazy story involving Waymo? All right, look at police out there with it. An unusual 911 call from a Waymo. The support operator led to San Mateo police out in California surrounding the driverless taxi Monday afternoon. Well, the operator was monitoring intra-car video when they spotted two passengers repeatedly firing what appeared to be a black handgun out of the vehicle windows. Waymo remote text directed the driverless car to pull into a parking lot under the guise of a vehicle malfunction. allowing those officers to descend on that car, police discovered the passengers were two 15-year-old boys who were under the influence and armed with Orbeez water guns that had been painted black to look like the real deal. All right, we talked about our Larry Spruill, who got the lucky story of the day, and that is hanging out with APD officers who are tasked with taking to the skies to go up to help fight crime. And it's an incredible advantage, Larry, when you have eyes from the sky, and that chopper behind you has all kinds of technology inside of it. Tell us more about it.
Well, good afternoon, Tom, and you called it. This is the best story of the day, something I have never experienced before. But just take a look at this chopper. This is one of the choppers that APD units use as they're calling their air control units. Now, these provide a unique advantage for APD when they're fighting crime or even covering large, massive crowds like the World Cup and even the Peachtree Road race that they did this past weekend. Now, Atlanta police use several air units on a regular basis. But lately, they have been a great advantage to monitor large events like World Cup crowds and the Peachtree Road race from last weekend. They were first activated in 1971. The last few weeks, these units have provided a unique viewpoint other than what's on the ground. Take a listen.
During events, FIFA games or Fan Fest, we're providing 24-hour coverage for the city as well as those events with surrounding jurisdictions, Clayton County, DeKalb, Gwinnett, GSP, Fulton. So we've established this 24-hour kind of operation. It's been working out really great.
That is inside right here, this cockpit. They use this technology covering crime, and again, when they survey large crowds like the World Cup and the Peachtree Road race. So coming up today at 5 is a story you will only see here, right here on Fox 5. I will talk to the captain, who is the captain of these choppers and the technology inside. Once again, it's a story you will only see here on Fox 5 coming up at 5 o'clock. We're live. I'm Larry Spruill, Fox 5 News.
How cool, Larry, to get to go up into that that chopper loaded with all that technology. And I've seen those things flying around. They can fly around at really super low levels, only 50 or 100 feet or so off the ground when they're chasing down a suspect. And they really did, as you're right, they really did enhance the security apparatus and the ability for APD to keep their eyes on the ground during a time when we have literally tens of thousands of people in the downtown area.
Yeah, Tom, and what's also so unique about all of this, so when they're covering these large crowds, they are able to zoom in and they can even see license plate numbers. That's how intense this technology, these infrared cameras are inside of these choppers. I gotta tell you, I'm so excited to tell this story at 5 o'clock. You guys just wait back and come back and tune in. It's a great story on how they do all of this and how this is so successful.
All right, we're looking forward to your exclusive later today on Fox 5 News. Larry Spruill hanging out with the APD Air Squadron there. Larry, lucky you. Thanks so much. Remember I talked about the president being over in Turkey for the NATO summit. I really wanted you to hear some of the talk that came from the president, because the fact that we have now thrown out this agreement with Iran and are re-engaging them militarily is an important one. It's affecting all segments of society right now. You're going to see it when the next time you pull up to the gas pump, because gas prices, the price per barrel of oil has gone up as a result of the United States' actions. And he spoke about that in NATO. Listen up.
We've had a tremendous time and I think a great success. And we just concluded a very successful NATO summit. In the working session this morning, we discussed the progress other members are making toward the 5% target, and they're making great progress. Many of these countries are very rich, by the way. We don't have to feel sorry for them. But it doesn't mean they're properly protected. There's a big difference. Some have truly answered the call, and others are making big changes and will be answering the call. I think I can say in all cases they're going to be answering the call. And we'll be taking in over $1 trillion a year toward defense, and that's a tremendous amount of money. The benchmark is going to be that 5% number. That's the number it should have been for years. As a result of the commitment we achieved last year, defense spending of other NATO members surged by more than almost $150 billion in 2025, and much of that money is being spent on American-made equipment. They all want American-made equipment. We're pushing very hard to have the defense companies. They're great. We make the best equipment. The Patriots and the Tomahawks and everything we have is considered to be the best. Now,
all right, the U.S. attacked Iran once again. The president making that announcement from Turkey as he meets with NATO leaders over there. The United States saying that it's doing this because Iran was firing on commercial vessels inside the Strait of Hormuz. And so the president saying that the United States has no choice but to rip up the agreement that those two countries came to that was supposed to lead to a ceasefire agreement, which it did for a while. But that ceasefire is now over as the president and the United States re-engages Iran. As I said, sure to have a ripple effect throughout the economy. The Dow Jones Industrial is off 600 points today, and gasoline prices will undoubtedly go up, hitting us all in the pocket. When we continue, the situation in Venezuela still tenuous as that country continues to recover from a double earthquake. Our Maria Guzman is going to join us here live about our effort here in our community to help those down in Venezuela when we come back. Welcome back to the 3 p.m. streaming hour here on Fox Local. I'm Tom Haynes with you live inside the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom on a busy Wednesday afternoon of news. Appreciate you streaming with us if you're on our Fox Local mobile app on your mobile device, watching us there. Happy to have you here this afternoon. If you're at home watching on one of your live channels on your television, welcome to you as well. On one of our social media platforms at Fox 5 Atlanta, where we always welcome your comments on any of the stories we're talking about this afternoon, or if you're out and about on the radio, listening to us on our radio partner, 107.9 HD2 FM. We're certainly glad you're with us, getting caught up here this afternoon. Want to talk about the situation down in Venezuela. There are a lot of Venezuelans here in the Atlanta community who are worried about their fellow countrymen down there or friends and family who happen to be down there. So the Latin American Association is conducting its United for Venezuela donation drive today. It wrapped up just a short time ago, but there's Maria Guzman standing by with what the LATAM Association was able to do for that beleaguered country. Maria?
Hey, Tom. Yes, I have some good news for you, right? The good news is that this drive has been extended. So that means if you want to help, if you want to do something and help the victims in Venezuela, you still have a chance to do so, because this drive's going to go now all the way until Friday. And a big reason why they extended that is because of the big need and because they haven't gotten much donation. So I'm going to talk to you guys about what are the items that they need here, the items that they don't need, because remember, everything is going to be going to Venezuela. So that's a long way from Atlanta, Georgia, right? So I'm going to go ahead and turn around my camera because I want to introduce you guys to Andrea here, who has been leading this donation drive. So Andrea, just the first question, right? When we talk about the donations and demand that are needed, what are those items?
So the items that we really need are non-perishable food items. So canned good items, hygiene products, diapers, formula, basic medical items. Those are really the items we're really focusing on. Those necessity items that we use every single day that we may take for granted. The victims in Venezuela, they need these items very much.
And here we do have some idea of those items that she is talking about. I know a lot of the times people first instinct is to donate water, but you guys are requesting not to. So tell me why and the items that you're asking people to not bring.
Well, we really want to focus on those items that are easier for us to ship and those items that will last as well, and that those that won't get damaged in the process of shipping from here to Miami and then Miami to Venezuela.
Got it. And, you know, there are a lot of Venezuelans here who work here at the Latin American Association, but too that you guys serve. So what are they telling you? What are you hearing from them and their families in their homeland?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we do have many of our employees that are from there. Also, the clients that we serve, we're really hearing that the need is very high, and these are the items that they need. And just really, you know, the devastation there. Some people have lost their homes, their jobs. So anything that we can do to help and support the community, we do that here in Georgia every day. And when there's a crisis abroad, we want to be able to help as well.
And this drive started Monday, was supposed to wrap up today, but just walk me through why you guys decided to extend those dates all the way to the end of this week.
Yeah, absolutely. The donations have been a little slow to come in, so we're extending it through Friday. So donations can be dropped off here at the Latin American Association office on Beeford Highway through 7 p.m. tonight. And then tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then on Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So there you go, guys. You still have a chance to come and donate. And a big reason why donations can be slow right now is because we're hitting about that 2-week to 3-week mark since the earthquake. So a lot of the times we see a lot of help the first week and then it kind of just drops down. But here they continue to do that work. And so you have a chance to come and help out.
Well, it's a valiant effort on the part of the Latin American Association. Relief supplies that will be desperately needed, as you say, Maria. Just because the earthquake happened a few weeks ago doesn't mean the demand is still so intense down there for these goods, both hygienic and food items. And I'm imagining, just from your scan of what they've collected thus far, since this food drive has been extended, not only the hygiene products, but foods that are sort of easy to make down there, because a lot of people are without power, without ability to have like proper kitchen tools. So I saw the Bisquick pancakes. I mean, you just add water and that is an easy meal ready to eat, so to speak. That's the kind of stuff they're going for, right?
Yes, so that's key, right? A lot of the people have lost their homes, so they've lost resources to make certain food. Electricity there is not as accessible. So there's a lot of factors that goes into this. So you have to be really careful and thoughtful, right, of what items to donate and be just very intentional. Even the type of clothing, right, that they need. So just a lot of thought behind every donation, as a lot of people have lost their homes. So there's less resources in general.
Yeah, and remind me again, I know you said it, but I might have missed it, where to go if I want to donate. Where is the Latin American Association? Where can I drop off?
So Latin American Association, they have several offices around the Atlanta area. best is to go to their website where you can find that. Here, this one is at the Buford Highway, and you're able to drop off as late as 7 p.m. today, and then it's going to be open as well tomorrow and Friday during office hours as well.
All right. Yeah, I passed that one on Buford Highway there between Cheshire Bridge Road, Lenox Road, and North Druid Hills Road. Maria Guzman there with a huge effort to collect relief supplies for victims of the Venezuela earthquake. Maria, thanks so much. We appreciate it. Want to turn now to a story about some local veterans, 8 of them to be specific, taking to the skies today in a restored World War II era plane at Briscoe Field. Chris Rosenthal in Lawrenceville with a look at this inspiring event for these homegrown heroes.
Veterans from Phoenix Senior Living in Brazelton got this incredible opportunity today to fly and be passengers in this 1942 World War II era Stearman aircraft. You know, many of these veterans served during Vietnam and during even as far back as the Korean War era. They may not have gotten to fly in this aircraft in particular, but I'll tell you, they loved the experience. This was also made part by an organization called Dream Flights. They go around the country giving these flights, giving this opportunity to veterans as a way of saying thank you, as a way of paying them back for their service. And I'll tell you, just watching them go up, watching them fly, watching the look of joy on their faces is really incredible. Let's take a listen and see just a little bit more about what that experience is like.
It was very, very smooth. It was very, very enjoyable. I guess being used to same commercial aircraft, the little air pockets you hardly felt, and just being able to see the scenery and the number of warehouses and new construction around here. And you're close by, not compared to when you fly in. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was very nice of these gentlemen to do this for us, and the whole organization. Yeah.
What does it mean to you to have these people take the time to give you guys the opportunity to do this?
Well, you never, I guess, yes, I served, and it was back in the 50s and 60s. I never expected this kind of recognition as I moved forward in my life. I thought it was, he did his job, he's forgotten, and so be it. But it's nice to be recognized by these different organizations, and they do something for you. And thank you for your service, and thank you. And, they've said thank you for your service so much. And, I used to say, well, thank you. And I've learned to say, it's my duty, my honor, my pleasure to serve my country. And that's meant more to me as the years have gone by.
What's the reaction when they go up there and they come back down?
I'm going to use a quote I got a couple of days ago from one of our Dream Flyers. He said, "I've been sedentary so long that I've forgotten what it's like to live." And that is his quote after he got done with one of the flights. That's what we get when we do it, and the veterans, they get a lot. They go back in time, they remember things, they have that experience that they just haven't had in a long, long time.
Yeah, and you're talking about for you guys as well. How does it make you feel? What do you guys get out of it?
We just love it. We love the ability to give back. It pulls at our heartstrings to watch the veterans just have such an emotional reaction. And there's really not a lot of words you can say. You need to come out one day and just enjoy what goes on and how the veterans are affected.
This is the 3rd year in a row that Phoenix Senior Living has partnered with Dream Flights to give these flights to their veterans, to give them the chance to really get out and have this amazing experience. I'll tell you, one of the things that really struck me is just the amount of time, care, and patience the pilots have had with these veterans. They take the time to talk to them, get to know a little bit more about their service, and really are patient with them, getting them in and out of the aircraft, all different sort of physical levels of abilities. I'm sure you can imagine. They're going around the country doing this. They'll be taking Thursday off, and on Friday, they'll be in Cartersville giving more flights to more veterans. Back to you.
What an opportunity for those veterans. As you said, Chris, it could be a bit of a logistical challenge. I have an elderly father myself. I don't know that we could get him up into that plane, but for those veterans who are able to get up and experience something like that in that World War II era plane, how exciting and so well-deserved for those veterans. Chris Rosenthal. Chris, thanks so much. When we come back here, in the final few minutes of the 3 p.m. streaming hour, a high-stakes rescue drill underway right here in our area where our Eli Jordan is. He's going to tell us about it on the other side of this break. Welcome back, everybody. So happy you're with us this afternoon. You know, in Henry County, first responders there in McDonough today staging a live high-stakes drill simulating what is being referred to as a trench collapse. Let's get more on this from our Eli Jordan.
Hey, that's right. I'm actually at a job site here in Henry County. Carmichael Development out here clearing the land, about to put up a big development. But they invited Henry County Fire Department out here so they can show their workers and also give Henry County a little bit more training about what happens when a trench collapses, when you're doing some trench work, utilities down in there. You want to be safe. You don't want to have a whole bunch of earth come falling down on you. And then, you know, it's usually not a rescue mission. It's usually a recovery mission. And so Carmichael Development wanted to show their employees what it takes for a fire department to come out here, perform a rescue/recovery mission, because it's not fast, because the fire department has to protect their men too. And so Carmichael Development, Henry County Fire Department, they teamed up and they gave a little demo today about what can happen and how long it takes to recover anyone that is trapped in a trench collapse. Now, it's a long process. It's, you know, a lot of work. They got to make sure the air quality is good, because you never know what, you know, anybody may have hit when you're digging down in the ditch. You know, was it a gas line? You know, was there any electricity? Is there any water coming in there? There's a lot of things to consider when they're doing this. And Carmichael employees got a really good dose of the reality of what it takes for a fire department to come out here and take care of a trench collapse. Now, I spoke to Michael Hicks, who is the shift commander for Henry County Fire Department, and also spoke to Glenda Harris, who is with the Georgia Utilities and Contractors Association. How often do you guys respond to, you know, trench collapse?
Trench collapse, it's not as often as you would think, but we do have that on occasion, because we are all hazards department, so we respond to whether it's rescue, high or low, underwater or surface water rescues, trench, confined space. So we're all hazards departments.
How valuable would you say this kind of training is for you guys?
Oh, it's very valuable because this could be a yearly thing. We may get one time a year to actually open up Mother Earth and actually train in it. So sometimes we don't want to mess up the opportunity, if that makes sense.
So this is a little bonus then, getting somebody else that's doing this?
100%.
Is this common to have something like this, a partnership between a developer and the fire department?
I would say it's a growing commonality because, some of our other members, we have almost 600 members in the state of Georgia, and they're all underground utilities. And so this is our really main focus of excavation. And so a lot of our members have started building those relationships with local fire departments in different areas so that we can make sure that they're trained to protect us and that we know what to do. And it also brings awareness to the crews.
Just so cool. Our Eli Jordan out there with those first responders. Want to say thanks so much for joining us today on Fox Local. Don't go anywhere because the news continues right here, right now.
Starts right now.